Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're gonna go for another rock and roll. It is past 3. Grateful, thankful, rent paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And we're gonna go a little bit towards the sun. Gotta turn your heads left and right before you cross the street. That's where I used to do laundry for years and years and years. Lots of laundry being done there for a few years. And I gotta be grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid. And I got that laundry machine, the washer and the dryer, That's where I used to do laundry for a long time before, like 3.5 years ago, before COVID, a few years, right there at the corner. So it's still open. I see some people doing it. I don't see really because I gotta check on my vision here in my neighborhood. But you know, gotta be grateful for the washer, for the dryer, the brains and the muscle, and of course those who build it, you know, those who build it, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. And we gotta get it on the love, you know. Now the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, and all those involved in the production, distribution of food, you know. Gotta give some salutations to them. And still a bit on the sick side. I've been on that throat, you know. Coughing a little bit early this morning, still cleaning, I guess. Second holy day of the writing of the book of the law. HAD, hot. Like that football, always encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. And working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice as I go now for the second day. Second time that I'm wearing these boots. I had the same boots during COVID. I marched more than almost 45 months in them. So they got more mileage than generals of the free world. NATO. Pledge your allegiance to our families, the song. And that's how we gotta go get it on the love. And sometimes we just gotta love, you know, and do love by action. And see my children dance in the streets, and safety and security, you know, the North American Collective. And gotta be on that love side of things. Sometimes it's not all about the money. Please give some charity for the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks. As the stock market crash is ongoing, you know. We got that stock market crash due to, of course, the unprecedented tariff trade war began, and it's escalating with China. The parallel, of course, China and the United States being the top economies, and the rise of China in the past years has been and is, of course, continuing. But now, of course, we have the trade war, which is an escalation of the trade war which began during the first Trump administration. And you know, it has been, is, and it will be the Dragon versus Trump. Somebody's kissing there, holding hands, and I saw somebody kissing earlier, somebody squeezing hard, and I always get that hope, L-O-V-E, and that gives me hope for some love, you know, because otherwise what are we fighting for? Wall Street, the billionaires, they got them paid, they're good. And I'm gonna be careful there when I cross the street. And the message has been, is, and will be, you know, hug like you never hugged before. And that camera, because that's worth fighting for, you know, putting on a weapon for, and being armed, you know, and carrying a weapon, and armed forces with that, you know. That's worth fighting for, and being armed, you know. Carrying a weapon for somebody making that love right there, man, you know. That's good. That's how we gotta get it on that hope, you know. And that's what the Dragon Army and now make me smile, you know. Although I'm financially stressed, broke, and I just saw 2 people there holding hands, and gotta salute that, big hug, and hug like you never hugged before. So now I'm gonna go on my march happy, joyous, because somebody's still loving in the free world. It ain't all about the money, you know. It ain't all about the money, and sometimes we gotta get a little bit of that justice, you know, the justice side of things, you know. So we gotta get it on the love and justice, you know. Gotta focus on it, you know. I struggled, suffered, and been depressed, been suicidal. It's 5 years since I had COVID. COVID was really hardcore for me, you know. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. And that's also something which is gotta be fighting for, and till the end, I guess, per the Rabo, you know. That's that 44, 010 bus, and that's what we gotta get doing on that. That's what we gotta get doing on the love side of things, and that's what we gotta get on that transmission, and we gotta get it on the go, you know. So something which we gotta get it for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and the grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, distribution of food, pledge your allegiance to our family. And that's why I gotta get going on that, and that's why we gotta get on those butcher side of things, and that's why we gotta get it on the go, you know. So we gotta get it on the love, and we gotta get it on those justice and second chances and redemption side of things, and we gotta get it, you know, for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, firefighters, you know, and think about those doing some cooking now, some nurses, some workers in the daycares, changing some of those diapers across the collective North American civilizational complex, you know. Sun shining, second day of the writing of the book of the law. Got a big red backpack. Got a big red backpack. Is more than 44 pounds. More than 44 pounds. Almost lost another hat, Habs hat. Auctioning this for $1 million. Gonna give 50% to my anonymous friend. Please reduce the tickets. Cost of the tickets by 44.9%, 9%. NFL, National Football League, and NHL, National Hockey League, and NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL, you know. And in the backpack, I got donation from the food, from the fridge. Got a little bit of those. I counted some apples. Gonna give 50%, half of the apples to my anonymous friend, and some carrots, and some of those too long, you know, cucumbers. I'm gonna split one. Thank you, farmers, truckers, farmers. And I got on special last day of the special. I just got in time, and I went to a store, which it's interesting because the entrance has the number 40, but when you go out, it's 44. So usually it should be the same. It should be 40 or 44. But that one, the door to enter is 40, and to exit is 44. And it's the only place in Montreal that I've ever seen anything like that, because the doors are really split by a little tiny side. The entrance and the other side by a little tiny. It's not really, not even a wall. It's just like a tiny, like a few inches of metal, right? But it's 40, and then the other door is 44. But that's the mystical, kind of mystical because it's two addresses. It's 40 and 44. Anyways, so whatever the case may be, but just, anyways, the point is that I bought there. It was reduced from $4.19. The laundry detergent, I'm speaking about the laundry detergent, from $4.19 to $2.45. So basically I saved $4.19 times 2. That would have been $8.40, right? $4.19 double. That's $8.40. That's $8.40. $4.19 double. That's $8.40. $4.19 double. That's $8.40. So if I paid $5, I saved $3.40. So that was a good deal, and they got it in the backpack. So that's why I'm estimating that the backpack has about, approximation of the backpack weight is about 45, more than 44 pounds. So that's what it is. That's what they do. The double trouble here was cold overnight, -8 it went, and put the heating back on, and now it's going back up to 5. And yesterday we got that snowstorm, and now the second day of the writing of the book of the law, holy celebrations, and I got food when I get back home. I'm gonna get that feast, and I just saw somebody hugging for like more than 44 seconds. A big hug, and that was good. I really love seeing that, and they kind of were either reconciliation or just having seen each other in a long time, or just a couple who just finished doing some love business, and that gives me some hope. And before, when I passed by the Concordia campus, I saw in the car they were kissing, you know, and said that gives me hope, salute, you know. Although I'm broke, financially stressed, I'm always open for business, and I love to see love. You know, you want to come love with Adrian Hanna Dragon, Rainbow Dragon, you got to be 18 plus, though, men, women, black, white, men, women, black, white, you know, because I get it, that pansexual, you know, part of the LGBTQ community and neurodivergent condition, and I live with this mental divergent condition, which is not NOT, not a mental illness. It's just that our brains are different. My brain and an Aspie brain, people who with Asperger's, our brains are made configured differently. So I'm part of this tiny minority of less than 1%, less than 0.5%, about 0.44%. So not even 1 out of 300. It's a very rare mental psychic condition which makes us predisposed to special interests and repetition of pattern repetition and ritualized routines, and pretty much special interest 24/7 for me is the Holy Trinity. Geopolitics from morning, geopolitics, rock and roll, dance, and dance, rock and roll, geopolitics, dance, and rock and roll. geopolitics, dance, and rock and roll. And that's my holy trinity. And I am an independent artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst, and theorist. Geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who's freestyling now, looking at the beautiful clouds and getting a little bit of that love. And I'm joyous, content, happy. Now we're gonna go by the side where we went the other day, which was not so far away. It was just last week. We went during the night, and now we're gonna go during the day because I want to show it during the day. Because twice we went, in last week and the week before we went, it was nighttime. So we're gonna head towards where we were a few days ago. Last week's video and 2 weeks before, during the nighttime, we were there. And now I want to show it during the day, where I like to go by the side of the highway, and always got to give some salutation to the construction workers. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party. Pledge your allegiance to our family, for the Dragon Army, the kingdom which I'm laying the foundations first and foremost with 718 trillions of kisses, 718 trillions of kisses, trillions of kisses. That is a lot of kisses, trillions of kisses, laying the foundations for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom with so many kisses, 718 trillions of kisses. And that's all we gotta get doing for those trillions of kisses, and we gotta get doing on that love. And here we are, financially struggling, stressed, on the verge of World War III, which I predicted. Trade war beginning and escalating. The stock market is crashing, and this began crashing, let's face it. It's has provoked a stock market crash because we're on the 5th day of in the red deep. We went last Thursday, April 3rd, April 4th, and then yesterday April 8th and April 7th, and today April 9th. 5 days in the deep red. So we could say, many say it's officially a stock market crash. And my DRT theory best for the North American Collective, and I have predicted what's happening now with all the imperfections, the scars, the survivors. The bus 44 again. This has 44 and 010 for some reason on it. 010. Interesting numbers on the bust. See, this is an Asperger condition. It's an Aspie thing. We pay attention to certain details which are kind of like, what the fuck? What does that got to do with anything? Well, I guess because there's some classifications and numerologies which are part of this condition which I lived and have accepted in the past about 45 months, 3 years and a half, about 3 years and a half now, because I've been diagnosed for more than 7 years with it. Many people have diagnosed me and said you have Asperger's, which is HFA, and you have like 90 plus characteristics of an Aspie, which again, as an Aspie, is not somebody who's mentally ill. It's just this neurodivergence, which makes us socially awkward. Certain things we just don't get, and we just are on the not understanding certain social cues and certain social norms, such as personal space. We tend to breach personal space. We tend to get too close to comfort, like 2 inches, 3 inches close. We tend to be get very close to people. So it's always working on building bridges with the fellow neurodivergents, between neurodivergents such as myself, whose brains are made different, and the fellow neurotypical community, which neurotypical community is the vast majority of 99.56%, while people like myself are the tiny minority of 0.44%. So it's always building bridges. It's just because our brains are different. So certain communication, when we communicate with other people, it can seem awkward and weird, and we can seem rude and abrasive and direct. But of course, it's not a mental illness. Again, it is a neurological mental divergent condition which makes us predisposed to special ritualized routines. And there's that 93 by Providence, law of Thelema. Want to be Thelema here, and now we know how my brain switches. I always interject and put all this highway that I see, all the circulation, all the cars, all the trucks which are carrying all sorts of good grains of good milk, I put them in the geopolitical context, because of course my brain often switches to my special interest, which is of course geopolitics. So being that my brain always kind of switches to geopolitics, I always now put my geopolitical analysis back from 2019 And I take a lot of pride in my work as an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. And now I interjected, and of course I know that certain cars are going east, other ones are going west towards the Montreal, towards the east, the prairies, or all the way to Quebec, the capital of the province of Quebec, here in the true north, strong and free, which we gotta add some love. And of course it goes east and west and north and south. And of course certain dispositions and certain trucks or certain goods in the trucks, or certain logistics and certain trucks which carry certain goods are open for potential espionage and sabotage, espionage and sabotage. And we've been having some more and more proof now during COVID, and we have involved ourselves in certain conflicts, of which, of course, we've gotten involved in a military manner, not just necessarily in a humanitarian manner solely and only, but also in a manner of which we are now vulnerable to sabotage and espionage, especially our supply chains. And you look at our infrastructure, not just Quebec, Canada, Montreal, here, metropolis, second most populated city in North America, in Canada, 7th or 8th in North America. Montreal is the top 10 most populated city, is in the top 10 most populated city metropolises of North America, even if it includes Mexico, because Mexico City, I believe, is the first, number one now. It has been for a few decades now. Mexico City, capital of Mexico, and it's part of North America as well. And here we are looking at a little bit of railroads, and there it is, the omen, O-M-E-N. Hawk, 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 H-A-W-K, that's a hawk. All day, that's a hawk. It's a black and white hawk. I think it got some red and kind of orange and a little bit of yellow on it, but it's mostly black and white. And as you can see how he planes, and that's my totem bird. My totem bird, T-O-T-E. Yeah, my totem bird, a hawk. And now I look at those trucks, I imagine what they're carrying, whatever goods they're carrying, where they're going, I don't know specifically. I just know that they're heading west, because they're going west, those trucks, and we are going now, the camera's facing east. So I'm heading east, they're heading west on that side, and on the other side, they're heading east. So that's west. Now the sun, where you see the camera now is pointing west. Now the camera where the hawk, H-A-W-K, another hawk, is pointing south, and that's north. So the hawk is south, where my brothers and sisters in the USA are. That H-A-W-K, do some hawk exercises, my brothers and sisters in the south. It's time to fuse, get rid of the border, and support my dream, which is fundamentally a public-private partnership called the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, of which I'm laying the foundations with 718 trillions of kisses. And I will to build on that dragon versus storm, because I've been and will continue to challenge Granddaddy Trump, which I don't agree with many vast majority of the policies. I believe fusing Canada, the North and the South, in my way best. K-I-S-S, kiss is good. Kisses I got by the trillions. I got kisses by the goddess, and let's build on the Canadian-US border the biggest sports venue coliseum, multi-domain, multi-complex, for 24/7 sports and fitness, for sportists in perpetuities, That's all we gotta get doing with that, and build on the Canadian-US border the biggest mass structure for sports 24/7 ever built, the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, That's what I will to build on the Canadian-US border, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, and that's what I will to build, the North American Imperial People's Coliseum. And I was gonna say to be built also by the implementation of the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, which I've written about 7 years ago, the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, where criminals and, of course, those who are incarcerated brothers and sisters who have lost their liberty, to put on some work, to build those 44 tunnels. The number after 43 before 45 is 44 tunnels inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex and inspired by the underground village of Montreal in case and in terms and in case of a thermonuclear war, of which there's a possibility of happening, you know, because we got those ICBM rockets which can reach us. And it's time to get the North American Hawk Dome and implement Operation Northern Scorpio, one of my protocols which I've written in the past years. And look at that beautiful red, favorite color. Auctioning my pants, auctioning my socks, auctioning what I'm wearing, the underwear and the gloves and a hat, $1 million each. Gonna give 50% that half to my anonymous friend who wasn't my friend because of the money. Even if I make $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, gonna get that 50-50 and gonna get those cars going on that west side and build those 44 tunnels. And I will with your help, construction workers, rock and roll LOV. I put on the table trillions of kisses, massage, washing feet, washing, massages, feet washing, everything that needs to be done for the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And I wish I could afford a massage therapy session myself. Financially stressed, but you know what? Millionaires, billionaires, Wall Street, finance, the public workers, those who pick up the garbage, the compost coming tomorrow. And I worked on the compost here in Metropolis, Montreal, a few months in 2018 to 2019. A few months from September to like March, September 2018 to like March 2019. I worked on the compost, so I helped bring it in and do the education and the distribution of the bins, whatever the case may be. That was a good experience. So I do my composting. It takes the individual action and the collective, you know, to do the action, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get on that. Action sometimes is required often, you know, because theory got to be put into implementation, just like my total mobile defense theory system, my total mobile defense theory, the total mobile defense theory, the TM, total mobile DT, defense theory, S. The total mobile defense theory. 4 acronyms. When we interject the fifth is the S. That means that the system has become put in place, put in action. The total mobile defense theory system has refused Canada, United States, and create the public-private partnership Dragon Army, aka the North American Imperial Security and Service and Defense Force Legion, to have only the purpose of SSD. Acronyms, I want you to say for an hour march and say SSD, Security, Service and Defense. SSD, Security, Service and Defense. SSD for that only solely purpose. SSD, and build the North American Imperial People's Coliseum for 24/7 sports, universities, and all the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB. Please give some tickets to the public workers to pick up the garbage, the firefighters, and public healthcare workers, and finance them a massage therapy session, you know. That's what you're gonna need to do with that, and finance them a massage therapy session with the XYZ, and that's all we gotta get doing with that red there. And you know, we gotta implement the DRT, debt refusion treaty, because we have reached a critical point where we are on the verge of a public financial collapse of Canada. I've been sounding the alarm, and it's been a few years now, and paradoxically my debt refusion treaty best. So let's build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, where the first sports event is gonna be Dragon versus Trump. On the Canadian-US border, Happy Number will continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Ever since 2018, that's really when I got into politics. Before that, I kind of stayed out. I was on the sidelines, and I was just healing, you know, from my wounds and my scars, internal, external, and literally external, got lots of them, and you know, been depressed, been suicidal. And I remember moving from a moldy place. There was a lot of greenish, reddish, white, like blackish, white, red, type of like black, whitish, red and green mold. And I crossed Canada coast to coast in 2017. I come back to that event where that event really changed my whole life. My whole life in 2017 turned around, and I don't know, maybe I would have been dead, or because I was suicidal, I maybe would have done it all the way, you know. But crossing Canada just made me have an illumination, a revelation. I said, such a great, spacious country, and crossing the prairies, meeting a lot of Canadians, and that made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, my brothers and sisters. And I'm not gonna vote. The king is absent, and I totally say gotta go. Time for the Republic and the North American Collective, Fuse, Dancing Goddess, Dragon Kingdom, Public-Private Partnership, North American Integrated Security Service and Defense Force, the creation for the 21st century of this new institution, complementary covenant with the DGA, North American Integrated Dance, stick to be for environmental education and action, and create a common passport, a common currency, and public-private partnership in a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. My pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrism is tied hand in hand with my trinity of theories: the CIT, citizen integration theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory. And my brothers and sisters, with all due respect, Mr. Carney pledged allegiance to the King of England and his heirs. Mr. Carney pledged allegiance to the King of England and his heirs. Mr. Carney pledged allegiance to the King of England and his heirs. The king is absent, my brothers and sisters. The king is absent. The king is absent. It's the butchers, the bakers, the truckers, the nurses, the firefighters, the grocery store clerks, in the daycares, changing some of those diapers, those in the schools, teaching a little bit of math, geography, some of that French, liable, Privee, the great compromise of the linguistic compromise which we made, and we continue to do on an individual, micro level and macro level collective, and sing that rock and roll like Celine Dion. But the king is absent. So crossing Canada coast to coast really made me come out of being depressed, and I stopped being suicidal, and I started working out, training, exercising. I started working out and training, exercising, and ever since then I started training, working out and training and exercising, and have been able and will continue to exercise and work out and train. I created my workout training program system back in 2019, of which I'm proud that I created and made it to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario, because that's what I predicted. I predicted what's happening now back in 2019 in October, November, and I have proof. Consequently, I have proof of work, you know. I have predicted an international conflagration in October, November 2019, and consequently, that's what's unfolding now in a parallel manner. So we need to implement Operation Northern Scorpio based on my total mobile defense theory system, which, of course, I cannot overly discuss too much in details because I'm putting these on Facebook. So since it's a matter of national security, of which I did past collaboration with local, national security matters and organizations and institutions, which gotta support the Dragon Army, aka North American Imperial People's Service Security and SSD, Service Security and Defense Force, SSD only, SSD, Security Service and Defense only, for the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, truckers on the road, those hugging, those who are financially struggling as well, like myself, financially stressed, struggling financially, but paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, got food, got coffee, and got some bananas at home, got some peanut butter with cocoa, and I got some bacon, so I'm happy, joyous, content with that. And I live a simple, austere, severe 21st century rainbow dragon Spartan lifestyle, but of course I gotta get that rock and roll and wealth and prosperity. Gotta be a little bit less selfish, give some charity, and I don't make pretense that I'm totally selfless and altruistic. I do not. I would definitely go get a massage therapy session and get it once a week at least, you know. Because I keep a very fit, active lifestyle, and being that I get a very fit, active lifestyle, that's why we're gonna go get it on that, and that's why we're gonna go get it on the love side of things, and that's why we gotta go get it for the love, you know. And it's something which sometimes, you know, we gotta get on that karma, I guess. And I healed COVID. I had it. COVID was like death, pestilence, and disease. When I say COVID, for me, it was like death, pestilence, and disease. I say COVID like death, pestilence, and disease is something which kind of sounds like a rock and roll, hardcore, death, trash metal song. Death, pestilence, and disease. I'm my enemy's please. Where does the light in the shadow? Death, pestilence, and disease. I'm my enemy's pleaser. Avenge the 11-folder. Where does the light is a shadow? May I be avenged the 11-folder? Where does the light is a shadow? May I be avenged 11-folder. Whether you're a criminal or a crooked police, whether you're a criminal or that crooked 5-0, whether you're a criminal or that crooked popo, gotta get a little bit of karma justice, and I always say sometimes, we gotta be, on the love side of things. But anyways, it was like death, pestilence, and disease, because that's how I felt in 2020 between February and March. And not being reborn, nothing that I will to go back to. I just died right there in my room off some temple on the ground still. Better than where I used to live, but nonetheless, it was very severe, and I got triple vaxxed. 3 vaccines, that's it. Open carry my disinfectant. I do encourage all to keep the COVID protocols to be kept, meaning the disinfectant, the hand hygiene, especially when you touch those ATM machines at the bank, because you never know. I don't know what caused COVID. I believe it was snakes to human beings which transmitted COVID, but I cannot rule out another possibility, because that's my trinity on belief on COVID. I believe first and foremost COVID was transmitted from snakes to human beings. Second, I don't know for sure. Third, I cannot rule out another possibility. Fourth dimension to that trinity, what I do know for sure is that before COVID, a few months before I suffered COVID, which was I thought I was gonna die. I really thought I was dying, and that was my last chapter, and I was gone, and I survived it somehow. So having survived COVID, of course, just before COVID, I predicted that in the next coming 7 years, in October 2019, I predicted that there's going to be a World War III coming. World War III, an international conflagration of World War III. I have proof online. I put the video online on October 17, 2019 is dated. The video, October 17, 2019, the first video of the World War III scenario, and consequently the workout training program system, officially titled the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, which I created, aka the Dragon Army, aka the 300 workout training program system, which is a simple, effective workout training program system, which requires no equipment, which is meant to increase general overall fitness, and is meant to mobilize for the mobilization of a population in an emergency martial law situation, martial law type of situation of a martial law, where consequently the situation is a World War III scenario where we need to mobilize the North American collective population of the collective North American civilizational complex. So back in 2019. So then I had COVID about 3 months after. So I don't know what caused COVID. I cannot be sure. I believe it was snakes, but I cannot rule out another possibility. I'm just gonna have to, I think, see something black there. Might be a dog, and if they get too close, I sneeze. So I just don't wanna, except if they're poodles, and I guess dogs should be on a leash here if it's not on a, in a dog park. So I always gotta be aware, because you never know, and I'm always hyper vigilant in that World War III mode, and I was attacked. I was attacked by surprise a few years ago, I was attacked by surprise a few years ago. And I was suffered. I fell down, hit my head. I had a dislocated right arm. Dislocated right arm. I went to the hospital, the Jewish general, and replaced my right arm. I was put on some meds. For a few days. I was had a coma, had like a blackout, my own Cillian pirate episode. I had my own Cillian pirate episode, and I had my own City Empire episode with that. So certain dogs make me sneeze, you know, except if they're a spoodle. So I tend to stay away, you know, from them as much as I can in the circumstantial preference that, of course, they're on the dogs, which I'm carrying some food, and which can, of course, be without a muzzle, you know, without a muzzle, you know. So that's something which I gotta be doing with that, and that's something which I gotta be aware of that, you know, in the circumstantial manner, you know, that the dogs, you know, especially when there's children, and I understand the need to get the dog, but maybe a muzzle best. But here, because there's not a lot of population, when I come at night, there's almost nobody. But it's not fear, but it's just because if they have that thick, lengthy fur, I get a little bit of a sneeze, you know. So I get the sneeze a bit like cha-choo, achoo, like you see in my past videos. When I'm on the mountain last year, I see this furry dog, very thick fur, very big dog, comes close, and jumps, and then right after I sneeze like 5 times in a row, achoo, 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 achoo. Achoo, 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 achoo. Not 11 times, like 5 times, I guess, 5 or 6, something like that. So I don't get severe allergic reactions to go to the hospital, but I start sneezing. So that's, I gotta be prudent, because my safety, my liberty, and my fellow citizen who passed, his liberty, his security, we also gotta balance my liberty, my security, his liberty. And me, I'm neurodivergent, so communication can be sometimes very awkward and very rude, direct, and we can be pretty intense focused, like when I'm working out, marching, or dancing, or doing geopolitics, my holy trinity, because most of my days are spent for years and years on that routine, ritual-like routine. Well, Aspies, we have those special interests, and those take over our daily habits, you know. So our whole daily routines revolve around those interests. So that's just how we are, you know. That's just how we are, and that's just how we function on a daily basis. And my brain is different. I'm just different. And the brain composition, my brain is different. And Asperger's brain is just different. So certain things, our facilities, psychic, mental capabilities require more effort, and it's more hard for us to understand, such as social norms and social cues, or things of a social nature. It can be very hard for Aspies, and we can be sensory things can also be a problem. Sometimes lights or sounds or something else, or misreading the emotions and emotional states and things like that. But we have compassion and empathy. It's just that a lot of people confuse that Asperger's we're not empathetic, or we don't have compassion. It's not that. It's just that most Aspies, myself as an individual part of the community of Aspies, tend to offer compassion and empathy and goodness and kindness by action. If you are in need of something, which we can, whether physical, by providing food or a massage, washing feet, cleaning, or something like that. An Aspie, if you just ask, I got a just ask policy, and I'm willing to do it as long as it's legal, and if it's sexual, it has to be 18 plus. Come love with me, black, white, rainbow in between men and women, you know. I'm 50-50, you get rainbow dragon, Adrian Hanna dragon, androgynous pansexual, but you gotta be 18 plus. Gonna card you just like when you go buy cigarettes, when you go buy smokes, when you go buy alcohol, when you go buy legal cannabis. Here marijuana is legal, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, in the 13. Well, we got 10 provinces and 3 territories. So that's what we gotta be doing with that love, you know. And we gotta, back to what I was saying, I had COVID, survived it, I don't know what caused it. I created a workout training program system, officially titled the General Integrated Total Body Training System, of which I've performed myself more than 372 sessions. And of course, more than 372, I lost between 80 and 93 pounds. So I started working out exactly after I crossed Canada coast to coast, at which that event really changed my life. that event really changed my whole life. Before that, I was depressed, I was suicidal, I had just moved to the new place, and crossing Canada, coast to coast, coast to coast, made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans. I consider you to be my family, greater family, even Granddaddy Trump. Even Granddaddy Trump, which I don't agree, but got a fuse Canada, United States, and it's not the way to invite us, Granddaddy. And my fists are gonna get that nose like Pinocchio grown. And of course, on the Canadian-US border, we're gonna fight it out, me and you. And of course, it's not a way to bully Canada to invite us to become it's not really 51 because we got 13. So it'll be 13 new states. It would be 13 if we did 13 new states. But of course, bake some pies instead. Some cherry pie, apple pie, blueberry pie, shrimp pie, chocolate pie, orange pies. Or pie baking, marching and dancing across the 50 states. That's how you invite us. And some dancing, some love, some action, some financing, fellow Canadians to visit the 50 states, and vice versa, the fellow Americans to visit Canada. The true north, strong and free, we gotta add some love, and just like the home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave, gotta add some love, because bravery, freedom, strength, and the free being free and strong, gotta add some LOVE. Otherwise, gotta get those balanced. Some love and understanding, some purpose and pleasure, 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 That's just how I rock and roll. Through North, strong and free, yes. We gotta add some love, and some second chances. Compassion by action, second chances, criminal rehabilitation, just like I sing for the boys and girls in blue. Rock and roll, nobody's perfect. That includes that me and you. Gotta sing that rock and roll for the boys and girls in blue. Adrian Hannah Dragon. Ain't nobody perfect. That includes that me and you. Ain't nobody perfect. That includes that me and you. Ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. Ain't nobody perfect, that includes that me and you. And I gotta sing some rock and roll, not just for the boys and girls in blue, but for the brothers and sisters who lost their liberty and who do their criminal redemption. They get their second chances, and we're gonna build those 44 tunnels and build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. And the Forgotten Goddess Temple, Forgotten Goddess. Forgotten Goddess, GODDSS. Goddess doesn't need my temples because she's got the pyramids, and I'm just a piece of dust. But credit to this piece of dust, nobody. Effing useless sometimes at some things, being an aspie, Certain things are more difficult for me, but not sports and fitness, dancing and geopolitics and rock and roll. I can cook a little bit, clean a little bit. General cuckold. If I'm the greatest cuckold in the universe, I guess Granddaddy is gonna be our second. Back to what I was saying, but of course was that due to the fact that I will to build the forgotten GODDSS, because I credited my surviving to the forgotten goddess sent from the stars. GODDSS, goddess, God bless Canada, USA, and goddess kiss. God bless Canada, United States, goddess kiss. God bless Canada, United States, and goddess GODDSS kiss. That's how we gotta build, and that's how we gotta get doing, and build the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ plus community and neurodivergent community, and the pyramid. Scarlet, crimson or scarlets are shades of red. Crimson or scarlet are shades of red. The pyramid, house of the dragon, and those 4 buildings I will to build. Let's go, construction workers. Credit you some good loving, good kissing, good massaging, good rock and roll. For the Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance. It's time for me to get into the discussion of the DRT, debt fusion theory, because I'm on the topic, and it's super important that I discuss it every time that I do a video, because we have reached a critical emergency with the public finances as the stock market crashes today, and they're gonna get worse tomorrow. DRT, debt refusion theory, stands for D, debt, R, refusion, T for theory. So the debt refusion theory also includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union, and that's how we gotta get it doing with that. And the debt refusion theory, of course, includes monetary integration theory, and of course it is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So that's why we gotta implement it. It's an emergency, and we have reached that we have to pay 46.5 billion we paid last year. 46.5 billion in interest we paid last year. 46.5 billion. Cross on. Look at that love. I love BBC. So we gotta get it on the go, and that's how we gotta get doing, Anyway, so we paid 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount which we paid in interest. That is a staggering amount of which we paid in the interest last year. That equates to 46,000 million. 46,000 million. 46,000 million. That is that equivalent. 46,000 million. In 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion times 2, that's 40.6. 40.6. 40.6. That's the number which it was right at the start of COVID. 20.3. And due to COVID, the number more than doubled, The number more than doubled. The number has more than doubled. From 28.3 billion in 2020, 2021, the fiscal year 2020, 2021, the amount of interest paid on the public debt was 20.3 billion. Yes, due to COVID, due to coronavirus, implementation of the programs and protocols which had to be implemented, the number had more than doubled from 20.3 to 46.5, while the GDP did not double. So you realize that it's an emergency. There's a possibility of a black swan event, of a public financial collapse of Canada, of a public financial collapse of Canada, of a public financial collapse of Canada. On the horizon. It's on the horizon. It's a possibility of a public financial collapse of Canada. It is a possibility of a public financial collapse of Canada. Because the GDP has not doubled and the same financial principles apply. As an individual whose debt just the interest paid on the debt. Just the interest. We're just speaking about the interest. Check the numbers for yourself. With the Bank of Canada, these numbers you can check. Christian Freeland, Auntie Christian Freeland reside, and she got a lot of wisdom, and we gotta get that Democratic Republican North American Collective, the Kingdom Dancing God is driving. When we have to implement my DRT, debt refusion theory, or something similar, because on the horizon there's a possibility of a black swan event is just a financial term to say and for a worst case financial scenario unfolding. That's the term black swan. So due to the fact that we paid last year so much interest while the GDP has not doubled, it takes decades for the GDP to double. Decades. Just like an individual. If an individual citizen XYZ, that if the salary doesn't double, salary doesn't double. So if the individual's salary doesn't double, that individual has to reduce the spending. If let's say if it goes from 156 double is 312. So if it jumps from 156 to 333, which would be the double, to 333, 333, from 156, 156, double is 312. So that means that the individual citizen has to automatically that citizen has to, he, she, they, it, citizen, has to reduce the spending. So the spending has to be reduced. You have to cut in the budget. You have to cut in the budget. You have to cut the budget. You have to cut the budget. You're gonna have one individual citizen is gonna have to stop buying liquor, stop buying maybe cigarettes, stop smoking, stop going out to the movies, stop spending on Netflix, stop buying the illegal cannabis, stop buying champagne, booze, and stop going on. It's going out. That is just the mathematical financial principle, and there you can see Montreal, the downtown core area. You can see Montreal downtown core area, and that's now we're gonna head back into the sun. So the principle is that the one has to reduce the spending. That's just the principle of the mathematics. That's just the principle of mathematics, which we have to take into the account. Just like as a public and the private intersect in the mathematical financial principle, the mathematical financial principles applies the same for the individual, the micro citizen, and the public and the private. The mathematical principles are similar when it comes to the interest paid when it comes to the interest paid. So in the Canadian public, since the GDP has now doubled, has to cut and reduce the spending, right? Only if a citizen's salary doubles, then it can maintain. But how many salaries have doubled? The average salary increase from 2020 to 2025 in 5 years has been 4.4%. The GDP has only increased by 1 or 2%. So we're gonna have to cut, and I already saw some big cuts in the big cuts in the Immigration Canada. Thousands of jobs cut in Immigration Canada. Thousands of jobs cut in Immigration Canada. Right? So that is the same principle which applies both the public and the private. So both in the public, a citizen, private citizen, has to cut, and Canada also has to cut and reduce the spending. The spending has to be cut. So the same mathematical financial principle, we have to cut. What are we going to cut in the public? The healthcare, the police, security services, police, RCMP, the police, the sanitation, those who pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling. These are public services, the military, the Canadian Armed Forces. You realize what's coming, what's on the horizon now. It's possible that tomorrow it starts, it happens. There's just no way. There's just no way out of this. But my debt refusion theory or something similar. Just no way out of this. You can argue all you want, something similar to my debt refusion theory, which includes monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So something very similar to my DRT theory. And now we're marching west now. Now we're marching west. We marched east and we'll march west now. Horus. And that train's going east. That train's going east. So I'm marching west. So my debt refusion theory best. There's just no way around it. One has to reduce the spending. You You have to cut the budget. We have to cut, just like a private individual citizen, if the interest doubles while the salary does not, has to cut and reduce the spending. So it is with the public finances. What a beautiful sky. What a beautiful sky. What a beautiful sky. I guess the sun has remained as king. I guess the sun has remained as king. I guess the sun has remained as king. And will, after 800 dragon, with my new name, nobody's born a dragon, you become one. Dust and ashes are gone. Bury me with Papa Crowley. A third of me in Hampton, New Jersey. A third of me up in the back of the Belvedere, Conjurac, back of the Belvedere. My second home on road, the Belvedere, Conjurac. And a third of me sending the city of the pyramids. A third of me sending the city of the pyramids. A third of me sending the city of the pyramids. Need some red there on the side. The green to go. Some red. Anyways, the DRT, Debt Refusion TV, for the creation of the UE. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. 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 So the DRT includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory. My debt refusion theory includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. So all the public and the private debt. My 10,000, your 10,000, whatever the case may be. So all the public and the private debt, we're gonna take it, including my 10,000, your 10,000, whatever the case may be. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. So my 10,000, your 10,000, whatever the case may be. All the debt, public and private, we're gonna convert it into US dollar, Canada coast to coast, and then we're gonna go on the go. That's what we're gonna go doing. So all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000, that's what we're gonna go doing. And we're gonna convert all the public and the private debt, because my DRT theory is, of course, includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is exactly the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000, your 10,000, whatever the case may be, my 10,000, your 10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We're going to take all the public and the private debt, convert it to US dollars. All the debt, that debt is gonna be in the trillions. All that debt is gonna be in the trillions, and that debt is gonna be added with the United States. So we're gonna convert it into US dollars, So all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into United States dollars. All the debt, public and the private debt. So that's what it is with that, and that's how we're gonna go. So all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. all the public debt, all the public, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt converted into US dollars, converted into US dollars, converted into US dollars. So all the public and the private debt converted in the public debt, public private debt, my 10,000 included yours, all the debt, we're gonna convert it coast to coast, ocean to ocean. All that debt is gonna be added with the United States. All the money is gonna be the initial money supply for the creation of a new central bank, for the creation of a new central bank, the money supply, and we're gonna create the UE, the universal exchange unit, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, the universal exchange unit, the UE, the universal exchange unit. We're gonna have the value of the US dollar, Canada, United States, all the public private debt. That's gonna be the initial money supply. We're gonna create the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the universal exchange unit. The universal exchange, we're gonna set an interest rate level of 10%, 10%, 10%. It could be less, not more. It could be less, not more, less, not more. Less, not more, less, not more. So we're gonna set an interest rate level of 10%. With that money, we're gonna mass finance citizens' fitness. Mass finance citizens' fitness. Mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise. Mass finance the rebuilding of the North American infrastructure. Mass finance citizens tourism. Mass finance the building of the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Mass finance the building of more hydroelectric dams. Mass finance people to fitness, people to work out, people to train, people to exercise. Mass finance coast to coast, ocean to ocean, the building of the 44 tunnels. The building of the 44 tunnels. I think I saw somebody working out, training, exercising there. So going up, or going down, and I gotta salute. We're gonna mass finance that. We're gonna mass finance the building of the 44 tunnels. 44 tunnels. We're gonna rebuild the infrastructure. We're gonna rebuild playgrounds, and we're gonna rebuild the North American inner urban cities. We're gonna rebuild the ghettos of North America together. We're gonna rebuild the ghettos. We're gonna rebuild the ghettos. The North American inner urban city of North America. Gonna mass invest billions and billions and billions in those, and we're gonna build those 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. We're gonna build the North American kingdom, the dancing goddess of the dragon kingdom, and we're gonna rebuild the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. And we gotta get doing on the love here, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and visit and finance the Dragon Army, the North American Imperial Security and Service and Defense Force, SSD principle only, security, service and defense. We're gonna play that defense like that harbor ball and build on the Canadian-US border the biggest ever Coliseum arena to be 11 times bigger than the current Caesars Dome, the Caesars Dome, where used to be known as the Mercedes-Benz, where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, my 49ers lost by 3 points, but even by a point you lose the Super Bowl, but it was a tight one. My Niners lost, give some charity. Millionaire owners of the sports leagues and the sports leagues, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, the sports leagues and the owners and the athletes and the players reduce the ticket costs and distribute and build the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, 11 times bigger than the arena where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, was played about 11 years ago or so. Then my memory kind of retrograde amnesia, and kind of got that blackout in my memory, I just remember moving, being depressed, suicidal, and having scarred, being attacked by surprise, and survived COVID, being across Canada, established a strong esprit de corps. My fellow Canadians, North Americans, unite. Canada, United States, we're going to do a census, create a common passport. SSD only. Security, service, and defense. SSD only. Security, service, and defense. And SSD only. Security, service, and defense force only. Build the North American Imperial People's Coliseum, the Dragon Army, North American Imperial People's Coliseum, the Dragon Army, and rebuild the ghettos of North America. Second chances for our brothers and sisters who are rehabilitated. We're going to put the work for the infrastructure and the building of those 44 tunnels, and we're going to implement the DRT, the debt refusion theory. DRT, debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE. In case of a thermonuclear war, set an interest rate of 10% on the UEs thereafter, and you get a lot of rehabilitation and healing and strengthening and some joy by mass financing citizens, Canada, United States, Canadians to go in the US, and brothers and sisters in the US to come to Canada. That's about that drill with that. That's where we're going to switch it a little bit to that French, because we're here in La Belle Province, so we got to get around those steps. And that's all we're going to get doing on the drills now. The Dragon Army drills, get ready. Let's go for the cadence. For the cadence of the Dragon Army. Pledge your allegiance to our family, Adrian, Hannah, Dragon, keep my name by their mouth, if it's not for a blessing. For the cadence. Let's go, Dragon Army. Dragon Army, here we go. On the march and rock and roll. What is our purpose? SSD, security, service, and defense. What is our purpose? SSD, security, service, and defense. What is our purpose? SSD, security, service, and defense. For who? For the farmers, and the butchers, and the nurses, and the doctors, and those in the daycare changing some of the diapers. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. 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 For the farmers and the butchers and the truckers, hey, hail the construction workers. Hail the construction workers, electricians and the plumbers and the welders, and the welders, and the welders, and the butchers, train conductors, choo-choo train. Train conductors, choo-choo train. On the lanes, no need for fame. Liberty is born through pain. Liberty is born through pain. It's the sword of freedom. Brotherhood and sisterhood and ambulance, their drivers. An ambulance, their drivers. An ambulance, their drivers. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. None of my dragons are born a dragon. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. None of my dragons are born a dragon. What's the motto of the Dragon Army? Nobody is born a dragon. Nobody is born a dragon. Some of my dragons be black. Some of my dragons be white. Some of my dragons be black. Some of my dragons be white. Oh my. Oh my. What's the purpose of the Dragon Army? SSD. SSD. Sing with me. Security, service, and defense. Security, service, and defense. Security, service, and defense. SSD stands for security, service, and defense. Gotta go on some push-ups. How do we channel the aggression? We channel the aggression with push-ups and some hugs. Let's go. For the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses, for the doctors and the firefighters. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Public workers, aqueducts, changing so that we don't quack. Public workers, aqueducts, changing lanes so we don't quack. Public workers, sun is shining, that's a go. On the rainbow and the storm. After the storm comes the rainbow. Truckers, butchers, nurses, doctors, firefighters. Let's just sing, sing, sing. Some of my dragons be black. Some of my dragons be white. None of my dragons are born a dragon. Let's go clap the hands and tap the feet. On the concrete, in the cement, in the forest, or the concrete jungle. In the forest, the concrete jungle. Gotta get one for rumble. Gotta get it for the one. In the close, the holy one. Holy, holy, that's the sun. Gotta do some math and grammar. Gotta do some math and grammar. For the dogs and for the cats. Gotta give for what you did. Gotta give it for the left. Gotta sing it for what's left. Gotta sing it for the best. Gotta see it for the sept. Gotta give it for the sing. For my cousin up the ring. For my cousins up the ring. All my dragons are family. Dragons, some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. None of my dragons are born a dragon. 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 Gotta give for what you know. On the lanes, give me some more. Got a place and love and day. For we don't gamble, we just cook. Trains and lanes and truck that aim in the true north strong and free. For the 63, 63 or 66, 63 or 66. That's the legions, the north and the south. For the home of the brave and the free and the strong. What is missing? L-O-V-E. Gotta put some love in the equation. Somebody loving, somebody twerking. Some hammers hitting construction blocks and skyscrapers going up on the lanes, the aqueducts. IT workers, that's a hack. Brain and muscle, gotta give it once again. So you sane and safe and name. Dragons. Some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are rainbow. None of None of my dragons are born a dragon. None of my dragons are born a dragon. Gotta scoop, feet and do. Gotta crave mustard and some ketchup. Somebody then flipping burgers. Put the pizza and some onions. Children tapping, that's the laughter. In the daycare's changing diapers. On the lanes another frame. On the lanes another frame. On the lanes another frame. For the left and for the game. For the crows up in the snow. Rock and roll as we go. Truckers, plumbers, and the welders. Truckers, plumbers, and the welders. Where the hawks up in the sky. Where the hawks up in the sky. So you know the sun the eye. So you know the sun's the eye. So you know the sun's the eye. Faith and mountains, that's the forest. Ain't the glory when some loving. No gamble, but some cooking. Push-ups and squats, push-ups and squats, push-ups and squats. And do the hawk, and do the hawk. Got a frame, that's what you got. On the lane, that's what a top. So the cream up into B. Lanes to live in harmony. With some strength and some goodness. That's the loving and some fitness. Ain't the spelling bee. D-R-A-G-O-N. D-R-A-G-O-N. On the coast to coast. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. On to the east is the Atlantic. To the west is the Pacific. To the west is the Pacific. So that you a syllable miss it. Squats and marching steps, you with it. Truckers on the lanes we counting. How many lanes we busting? How many lanes we seeing? Construction putting hammers, that's the workers. And the green, you know we love it. And the green, you know we love it. And the green, you know we see it. That's the public workers. Gotta salute the garbage collectors. Gotta salute the garbage collectors. So the fame we need the lanes. Construction workers on the pane. So you see the left and veins. That you see the train. For another sky and frame. Tick tock on the clock. And I count at the second. Every marching step. We count the hours by the sun. Sun is always rising, always setting. Sun is always rising, always setting. The sun is always rising, always setting. The sun is always rising. The sun is always setting. Gotta give some left and right for the lights and for the shadows. Sometimes you just gotta play it mellow. Fruits and bacon. Farmers, plumbers, electricians. Think about the public workers. Lions gotta get, they do not lie. On the plains, you know the sky. So formidable, that's the light of the sun, you know we tight. That's the belt up in some buckles. Gotta love it for some chuckles. And the sky, the plains, we know trouble. Gotta give it for some muscle. Gotta open for the hustle. Hustle of the dragon army, that's another. For the left and for the right. For the left and for the right. That's another left and right. Gotta see to believe it. Gotta see, gotta be for one to get it. I got a dragon on me, that's the setting. So you see, we're not collecting. On the vibe we go in sight. On the march you know we tight. On the march you know we do not bite. Concrete jungle, that's alright. Sun to go and wind to blow, blow the wind. Healing left, you know the scream. Gotta see it for the friendship. Français maintenant. Bienvenue à l'entraînement physique. Gratitude en premier, premièrement. Mon loyer est payé. Ma facture d'électricité est payée. Puis dans le sac à dos rouge que je vends pour 1 million pour donner la moitié, 50% à mon ami anonyme, qui n'a pas été mon ami à cause de que j'étais riche en argent. Mais j'en ai pas. Je vis une crise financière, je sais. Je vis un stress financier, mais mon loyer est payé. Ma facture d'électricité aussi, go Hydro-Québec, go les plombiers, les boulangers, les électriciens, les plombiers, tous les caméras. Votre artiste, athlète, philosophe, qui vit avec l'autisme manifesté social Asperger's, qui est une condition de neurodivergence. Et donc, mon cerveau est différent. Donc, dans certaines choses, vu que la constitution des cerveaux des Asperger's, comme moi-même, en faisant partie de cette minorité de personnes de moins d'1%, moins de la moitié d'un pourcentage, 0,44%, ça fait que notre cerveau est différent. Donc, dans certaines choses de communication, j'ai de la misère, on a de la misère, mais moi-même, quand ça vient à la géopolitique, et l'entraînement physique, et le rock'n'roll, c'est ça, je passe avec intensité, concentration, et je suis super dedans quand je fais, et quand je travaille, parce que je fais beaucoup de travail indépendant, et bien du bénévolat que j'adore faire, mais dans ces choses-là, je suis bon au point que je répète, quand c'est important, car moi-même, j'ai prévu la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment. J'ai prévu la conflagration internationale qui se passe en ce moment depuis un couple d'années, en 2019, juste avant que j'aille la COVID. Puis bien sûr, aujourd'hui, je marque encore, je célèbre 5 ans entre février 2020 et mars 2020, ou début de février à la fin de mars. J'étais vraiment malade de la COVID, je pensais vraiment que c'était mes derniers jours, mais j'ai survécu. Je me suis fait vacciner 3 fois, puis je fais appel à tous et toutes de, quand même, dans le public, garder les protocoles de sanitation publique, parce qu'il y a des germes, des bactéries et des microbes, tu sais. Puis la COVID, on ne sait pas vraiment ce que ça a causé. Avec la révision de la CIA, que ça a été causé dans un laboratoire. Moi, je dis toujours, c'est possible. Je peux pas dire non à une autre explication, même si moi-même, je crois que c'était des serpents. J'ai pas la preuve à 100%, c'était des serpents. J'y crois en premier, mais deuxièmement, je peux pas dire non à une autre explication des origines du COVID, soit connues comme le coronavirus que j'ai eu moi-même en 2020. Je me suis vacciné 3 fois, puis bien sûr, je peux pas dire que c'était des serpents, mais moi je pense que c'est des serpents qui l'ont eu, mais c'est possible que ce soit un autre animal, puis comme la CIA a dit, c'est possible que ça a été créé dans un laboratoire. Je peux pas dire non à cette théorie. Qu'est-ce que je suis sûr, c'est qu'avant la COVID, en octobre 2019, j'ai fait bien sûr j'ai créé un entraînement physique qui ne requiert aucun équipement, et qui est bien sûr fait pour y aller avec une situation de 3e guerre mondiale. L'entraînement du dragon que j'appelle, que j'ai moi-même pratiqué, puis j'ai fait plus que 372. J'en ai fait beaucoup, de l'entraînement physique. Puis moi-même, j'ai perdu entre 80, minimum 80, à peu près entre 80 et 93 livres depuis que, bien sûr, je suis sorti de ma dépression. J'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire avant 2017, avant août 2017 et septembre 2017, c'est l'année que, l'été 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada, ça a tout complètement changé ma vie parce que avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire, puis cet événement-là, traverser le Canada, ça m'a fait établir un esprit de corps solide avec ma famille, tu sais, Québécois et Québécois, je vous considère comme la famille, et Canadiens aussi, puis en traversant le Canada, ça m'a vraiment complètement tout changé ma vie. J'ai commencé à établir un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, puis le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, parce que nos frères et sœurs aux États-Unis, veut pas, on a les intérêts communs, même si je soutiens pas mon grand-père Trump, pas du tout. Je pense que fusionner le Québec puis le Canada, mais ma manière, le partenariat public-privé, puis le rêve du royaume et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement un appel à un partenariat public-privé pour faire l'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie. Je pense que c'est ça que ça va de l'avance pour avancer d'où qu'on est rendu aujourd'hui de nos jours dans le contexte de la géopolitique et de la crise financière dans laquelle on vit. Moi-même, je suis en difficulté financière, mais j'ai payé mon loyer. J'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai un don qui a été donné des pommes, puis des cocombes, puis des pommes, des cocombes, puis ça a été donné des pommes, des cocombes, et des... Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Hey, c'est beau ça! Hey, vous avez fait un beau embellissement. Hey, c'est beau ça, je trouve. Wow! Un bon embellissement, je trouve ça vraiment beau. Moi, c'est Dieu déesse. Soleil est mon rock'n'roll, mais j'adore les arts, mais wow, c'est vraiment beau. Merci d'avoir fait ça, j'apprécie de l'art de même. Les couleurs, j'adore ça, tu sais. Fait que c'est ici dans le coin, je ne toucherai pas, mais c'est quelqu'un qui les a mis, tu sais. Fait que j'apprécie ça, et les couleurs de même, ça fait un bon embellissement du coin, mais c'est comment je l'ai trouvé, parce que je vais aller jeter un autre coup d'œil. Moi, je suis artiste de rock'n'roll, mais j'adore ça, voir les gens qui peuvent peinturer de même. C'est beau, ça. Je trouve que c'est beau. J'espère que le vent les emportera pas, mais bon, je n'y toucherai pas parce que c'est pour le public, tu sais, ça embellit le commun, là, fait que et des gros câlins du dragon arc-en-ciel, ben, ça aurait été fait bien sûr de cette manière que ça a bien fait. Wow, c'est beau ça, je trouve. Puis j'adore ça, les chocolats, moi le sucré, le chocolat, puis les gaufres. J'aime ça au début, je pensais que c'était de chocolat. J'ai dit, ouais, quelqu'un a mis un petit cadeau pour comme ça, mais c'est de l'art que j'apprécie. Puis c'est important, l'embellissement de notre communauté. Puis c'est important. Le public et le privé, c'est toujours un compromis ensemble que ça va. Mais en tout cas, de retour à la COVID, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Là. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, c'était vraiment là. Comme la mort, la pestilence, puis je pensais vraiment que j'allais mourir de la COVID. J'ai survécu, je me suis fait vacciner, puis avant la COVID, en 2017, ça fait plus que 7 ans, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, Premièrement, je suis allé à Vancouver, à l'ouest, puis après ça, j'étais de retour. Je suis allé, bien sûr, à Nouvelle-Écosse, Halifax, et cet événement, ça a vraiment changé ma vie. J'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Puis en 2018, j'ai rentré dans la politique quand Donald Trump a imposé des tarifs de 10% sur l'aluminium puis l'acier du Québec, du Canada, Canadien québécois. Puis là, il a imposé d'autres tarifs. Fait que c'est pas la manière du tout, tu sais. L'appeler grand-père, même si je suis pas en accord avec ses politiques. Pas du tout un républicain. J'étais un pro-révolutionnaire centriste, mais mon centrisme est relié avec ma trinité de théorie, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie d'intégration monétaire, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, et bien sûr pour la constitution, la création de deux institutions de partenariat public-privé, l'armée du dragon pour la sécurité, le service puis la défense, seulement pour la sécurité, le service puis la défense, seulement pour la sécurité puis le service puis la défense, seulement pour la SSD, seulement et seulement pour la SSD, le principe de la SSD, la sécurité pour le service puis la défense, la sécurité pour le service puis la défense, seulement pour la SSD, le service, la sécurité puis la défense. Donc, c'est bien sûr des choses que je dois avoir moi-même en tant que philosophe artiste qui vit avec cette condition de neurodivergence. Et l'Asperger's, l'autisme moyennement fonctionnel, ça fait que mon cerveau, comme le cerveau des Asperger's comme moi-même, il est différent. Fait que dans certaines choses de la société, les comportements sociaux et bien sûr telle chose que l'espace personnel, tu sais, on a tendance à briser l'espace personnel, à s'approcher trop proche des gens, par exemple, les caractéristiques des Asperger's comme moi, que je fais partie de cette minorité de moins d'1%, moins de la moitié d'1%, c'est à peu près 0,44% des citoyens qui ont l'Asperger's, l'autisme moyennement fonctionnel, dont moi je suis. Votre androgyne artiste dragon arc-en-ciel qui a prévu la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment en 2019. En 2019, je l'ai prévu. En octobre-novembre, j'ai créé un propre entraînement physique pour y aller avec une telle situation. Je suis fier d'avoir fait performance de plus que 372. Et après que j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte en 2017, c'est là que j'ai sorti de ma dépression. J'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. Puis en traversant le Canada de côte à côte, ça m'a fait établir un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, puis je suis sorti de ma dépression, je commençais à m'entraîner, puis en 2018, je suis rentré en politique quand Donald Trump a fait l'implémentation de 10% de tarifs, puis même dans mon sac à dos, j'ai les gants, merci à mon ami anonyme, si je fais 1 milliard, 1 trillion, je donne 50% à la moitié, on m'a donné des gants rouges, je les ai bien mis en fonction je fais appel à Donald Trump pour me combattre dans un combat de boxe sur la frontière du Canada et des États-Unis, puis qu'on construit ensemble un colisée impérial 11 fois plus grand et gros pour du sport à perpétuité 24/24 sur la frontière du Canada et des États-Unis, le plus grand complexe sportif au monde qu'on bâtit Canada et États-Unis ensemble, et bien sûr basé sur le colisée, ou que le Super Bowl entre mes 49ers de San Francisco et les Ravens, qu'on appelle le Blackout Bowl ou le Harbor Bowl, il était... ou que mes 49ers y ont perdu, là, mais pas grave, juste par 3 points. Les Canadiens ont gagné hier soir, fait que 4-1, c'était un bon match, ça s'en va en série, fait que ça rock'n'roll dans la belle province à Montréal surtout, mais le sport que je préfère moi-même, c'est la danse. Bon. Fait qu'il y a ces 4 bâtiments que je veux bâtir avec votre aide, les travailleurs en construction, le Colisée du peuple impérial, sur la frontière canado-états-unienne, le temple de la déesse, déesse comme Dieu, mais déesse, Dieu, déesse, D-E-E-S-S-E, de l'ADS parce que je crédite avoir survécu la COVID, avoir survécu ma dépression à l'ADS moi-même. Fait que c'est des choses que je veux bâtir. Puis c'est sûr que je rock'n'roll le travail en construction, je mets ça à table. Pas juste des paroles, mais des bijoux, des chatouilles, ben des choses pour le plaisir, pour le corps, pour le faire dans cette situation de complexe qu'on est rendu, bien sûr, en ce moment. Puis dans cette situation difficile, du point de vue de la géopolitique, c'est possible là, qu'il y ait un effondrement boursier parce que ça fait depuis jeudi passé que l'effondrement, le crash boursier, ça a commencé dans le rouge. Et là, vendredi, c'est allé dans le rouge. Hier, mardi, c'était dans le rouge. Lundi, c'était dans le rouge. Sévère dans le rouge. Puis aujourd'hui, c'était dans le rouge aussi. Puis il y a eu de l'augmentation des tarifs. La Chine et les États-Unis. Fait que c'est à veille d'avoir une petite catastrophe de l'effondrement des marchés boursiers. Mais moi, j'ai pas d'argent investi. Hein. Je suis en crise financière, mais bien sûr, c'est quelque chose qui affecte l'économie, même si c'est beaucoup de spéculation, tu sais. Il y a beaucoup de spéculation dans ce sens que c'est un marché spéculatif quand même, tu sais. C'est sûr que les marchés boursiers, ça ne représente pas nécessairement la production ou la consommation de l'économie, mais qu'est-ce que je sais bien sûr, c'est que on est rendu à avoir des records de dette personnelle et publique. Canada et États-Unis, on est quand même dans la même situation financière. Puis c'est un paradoxe que je mets sur la table la TRD, théorie de la réfusion de la dette, qui est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sortir du point qu'on est rendu du point de vue des finances publiques et privées. Ce qui est privé est public. Public et privé, bien sûr. Public et privé. Fait que c'est dans cette situation de complexe où qu'on est rendu l'année passée. On a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. Pensez-y, 1 milliard, c'est 9 millions. Fait que quand je dis que la TRD de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, c'est un paradoxe, mais c'est la seule et unique solution qui fait nous sortir de qu'on est rendu ou quelque chose qui ressemble à ma théorie, en principe. Puis fondamentalement, il faut que ça ressemble à ma théorie de la refusion de la dette, parce que sinon, on est en train d'avoir peut-être ça commence demain, là. Peut-être ça a commencé. Je suis allé à ma marche méditation. Peut-être c'est déjà commencé, l'effondrement des finances publiques canadiennes. Imaginez-vous qu'en 2020-2021, le montant, c'était de 20,3 milliards. Pensez-y à ça. 20,3 milliards, là. Double, c'est 40,6. Ça, c'était juste l'intérêt qu'on a payé en 2020, l'année fiscale 2020-2021 sur les finances publiques. C'est sûr, oui, à cause de la COVID, que moi-même, la COVID, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence, la maladie. J'ai survécu la COVID, je pensais que j'allais mourir dans ma grotte. Pour dire franchement, bien sûr que c'est à cause des programmes qui ont été implémentés de la COVID. Mais fondamentalement, l'intérêt est si haut qu'on est en proche d'avoir un effondrement des finances publiques, là. Fait que c'est ça le problème, ou que vous voyez avec l'intérêt, bien sûr. Avec l'intérêt, bien sûr, que ça soit dans cette... Fondamentalement, c'est l'intérêt le problème. C'est que tellement l'intérêt est augmenté, sauf que le problème, c'est aussi relié à l'intérêt qui a augmenté de plus que double en seulement 3 ans. Une courte période à cause de la COVID, que les programmes ont été dû implémenter à cause de la COVID pour la population. Et le problème, c'est que notre économie n'a pas doublé. Le produit intérieur brut, le GDP, c'est 1%, 2% d'augmentation. C'est le même principe financièrement en tant que citoyen. Un citoyen qui, l'intérêt qu'il paye, bien sûr, c'est double. L'intérêt qu'il paye, c'est double. Si c'est double l'intérêt, ça augmente 2 fois, mettons. Mettons en 2020-2021, un citoyen, citoyenne, XYZ, ça saute de 156 $ à 333. Fait que 156 double, c'est 312. 156 double, c'est 312. 156 double, c'est 312. Mais 333, c'est plus que double. Fait que c'est ça qui s'est passé avec l'intérêt sur la dette publique canadienne. C'est sauté de 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards à 46,5. Fait que c'est le même principe, c'est juste micro-macro. En comparaison d'un citoyen et citoyenne, donc l'intérêt a augmenté de 156 à 333, qui est plus que double. 333, c'est plus que double de 156. 156, 156. Et bien sûr, un citoyen et citoyenne, dans le cas où que l'intérêt, ça double, si l'intérêt double, mais sauf que le problème, c'est si l'intérêt double, mais si l'intérêt double, sauf que le salaire ne double pas. Le salaire ne double pas. Si le salaire ne double pas, ça veut dire que la citoyen, il faut que ça coupe dans le budget. Il faut que ça coupe dans le budget. Il faut que ça réduise, il faut que vous arrêtez, elle, lui, elle, vous-même, il faut que vous arrêtez de consommer peut-être du cannabis, ou réduire la consommation de cigarettes ou d'alcool ou de sorties dehors, ou de cinéma, au restaurant, des choses de même. Tu sais, les loisirs, il faut que vous coupez dans le budget. Ben, on n'a pas le choix, ça serait la même chose avec moi-même aussi. C'est un principe mathématique qui est constant. C'est constant, ça. C'est constant. C'est un principe mathématique qui est constant. C'est juste le principe mathématique des finances. L'intérêt vis-à-vis le salaire ou le revenu. Parce que quelqu'un peut avoir du revenu à part le salaire. Ça peut être du revenu pour d'autres revenus, là, des moyens. Mais gagner à la loto, mais tant mieux, donner à la charité. Tu sais. Un peu à la charité, pas tout, là, mais donner un peu. Fait que c'est le même principe avec les finances publiques. C'est le même principe avec les finances publiques. Parce que le produit du Canada, l'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé depuis 2020-2021 en 5 ans. Là. C'était même dans le négatif. Fait que notre intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, ça, c'est plus que double. C'est allé de 20,3 à 46,5. 20,3 fois 2, là. C'est 40,6. Fait qu'imaginez-vous, si c'est bien sûr 46,5. Fait que ça veut dire qu'il va falloir qu'on coupe. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper dans le budget? On va couper dans le budget les finances. Dans les finances, on va couper les services, des services publics. On va couper des services publics, mais comme le ramassage du compostage, le recyclage. Le recyclage. Ils sont joyeux, je suis joyeux. C'est ça l'important. Ils sont joyeux, ils sont en sécurité, mais c'est ça l'important, les enfants, leur futur. Fait que c'est pour eux autres la théorie de la réfusion de la dette, là, le plus, parce que là, on est à veille d'avoir un effondrement des finances publiques. Parce qu'il va falloir qu'on coupe quelque chose, les constructions publiques, le ramassage des poubelles, des vidanges des poubelles, la police, la GRC, les prisons. Tu sais, ces services-là, la santé, la santé, tu sais, imaginez-vous, l'armée, tu sais, parce que l'intérêt c'était tellement gros l'année passée, ça a plus que doublé de 20,3 milliards à 46,5 milliards. 1 milliard, c'est 1000 millions, là. Fait que la TRD, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, c'est la seule et unique solution. Ou quelque chose qui ressemble vraiment. Quelque chose qui ressemble fortement à ma théorie dont je vous l'explique. Puis ma théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. La théorie d'intégration monétaire. Dans ma théorie est intégrée la théorie de intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation par la création de la Banque centrale d'Europe et la destruction de leur Banque centrale nationale en Europe des années 80, puis on fait de la création, l'implémentation de cette théorie, puis il y a fait de la création d'une unité d'échange commune, soit l'euro. Fait que ma théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient cette théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient, intégré dans ma théorie, est intégrée la théorie de l'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait l'implémentation de la théorie financière. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000 à la Banque royale canadienne, de côte à côte, public-privé. Tout cet argent-là, on va le convertir dans la devise des États-Unis. On va faire ensemble avec le Canada et les États-Unis On va faire l'addition ensemble. Toute cette addition-là, tout cet argent-là, ça va être l'argent initial pour la fondation d'une nouvelle banque. On va faire la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. universel. U.unité, E.échange universel. Oui. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. universel. La création de l'unité d'échange universel. U.unité, E.échange, U.universel. universel. J'aimerais tellement ça peinturer ici, là, mettre de la peinture. Mettre de la peinture ici, mettre de la peinture ici. Là, ça serait tellement beau ici, mettre de la peinture. Puis juste amenez-moi le pinceau, la peinture, puis je vais faire du bénévolat. Puis la peinture, les pinceaux, puis je bénévole là, je bénévole là, je bénévole, du bénévole en bénévole, puis j'aimerais ça enfant, tu sais. C'est that's all, tu sais. En tout cas, fait que tout l'argent, la dette publique privée avec les États-Unis, tout cet argent-là, on va faire la création de cette nouvelle banque qu'on va appeler comment on l'appelle, puis on va faire la mise en circulation de cette nouvelle monnaie, l'unité d'échange universelle. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. En bas de 10, par principe, ça va être, on ne pourra pas avoir plus que 10. Par principe, ça va être 10. Par principe, ça ne pourra pas être plus que 10. Fait que c'est ça qu'on va faire. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. On va faire l'implémentation de la refusion de la dette. Donc c'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut qu'on fasse. On n'a pas le choix, on est rendu à payer 46,5 milliards. Là. 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards. Go! On s'hydrate. Merci les travailleurs qui ont bâti ça. Imaginez-vous hein, comment que ça a été bâti, j'imagine un peu, mais c'est sûr que je suis pas dans le milieu exactement, de la géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, le rock'n'roll, mais c'est ça. Donc, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Donc, on va faire l'implémentation de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Et bien sûr, on va prendre toute cette théorie, la refusion de la dette, On va prendre toute cette théorie, toute la dette TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. On va faire l'implémentation de cette théorie de la refusion de la dette, bien sûr. On va prendre toute la dette publique privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, son 10 000. Moi j'ai 10 000 $ de dette, donc je dis mon 10 000 à moi-même, là, mais on va prendre toute la dette publique ainsi que privée. Fait que toute cette dette-là, ça va faire la fondation d'une nouvelle banque. On va faire la création d'une unité d'échange universelle avec cet argent-là. On va rebâtir l'infrastructure du Canada. On va bâtir les 44 tunnels. Dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire basée sur le souterrain de Montréal, puis bien sûr basé sur le complexe Cheyenne. Et bien sûr, c'est ça qu'on va faire. On va bâtir. On va rebâtir l'infrastructure du Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, Québec-Canada, parce qu'on va faire l'implémentation de ma TRD au Québec, puis au Canada, puis aux États-Unis ensemble. On va faire un grand recensement, faire un passeport commun, une unité d'échange commune, l'armée du dragon, soit la Légion de l'Amérique du Nord pour la sécurité service défense, pour la SSD par principe. Pour la SSD, on va faire la création de ces deux institutions de complémentaires de partenariat public-privé, l'armée du dragon et l'armée de la déesse qui danse pour l'environnement. L'éducation, puis pour la danse. Moi, je peux danser pendant des heures, c'est mon sport préféré. Fait, dragon arc-en-ciel, messieurs, madame, 50-50 ans de régime pansexuel, il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement des finances publiques. Mais aujourd'hui, je me rends chez nous, puis c'est des finances publiques, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure, les aqueducs du collectif nord-américain, les autoroutes. On va pouvoir faire bien du bien. Financer les gens au tourisme, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, parce que moi, ça fait du bien l'entraînement physique puis le tourisme en même temps. Fait qu'on va pouvoir faire bien des choses pour le bien public. C'est ça le principe. Pour le bien public, on va pouvoir faire bien des choses. Retenir ce principe, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, rebâtir des parcs et des tunnels et rebâtir des choses dans le tunnel, et bien sûr, rebâtir ces 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, et bien sûr, fonder l'armée du dragon pour la sécurité, service et défense, et rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique, financer les gens au tourisme, ben du bien. Ben du bien, on va faire pouvoir faire ben du bien, en commun, puis c'est des choses qu'on va pouvoir c'est des choses qu'on va pouvoir faire, bien sûr, dans ce c'est des choses qu'on va pouvoir faire, bien sûr, dans ces choses qu'on soit de l'entraînement physique, mais c'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'on va pouvoir... La TRD, c'est la seule unique solution, hein? Vous pouvez vous obstiner tant que vous voudrez, là, mais il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, tu sais. On va voir si l'eau fonctionne. On va pouvoir bâtir d'autres aqueducs, d'autres parcs comme ça. Des parcs publics à travers le collectif nord-américain. Financer les gens à l'entraînement physique. Financer bien des choses. Bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec. Go Hydro-Québec, go Hydro-Québec, go amour et santé. Puis je vous chante du rock'n'roll 24/24. Pour les travailleurs, les camionneurs, les boulangers dans les boucheries. Même pour la SPVM, de temps en temps, personne n'est parfait. Puis je suis fier de vous quand vous faites votre réhabilitation criminelle. Parce qu'elle perd la liberté puis le service, hein. Ça c'est nouveau, tu sais. Fait que, imaginez-vous le travail, merci les travailleurs publics. On va faire, avec la TRD, on va faire bien du bien commun. C'est ça le principe. C'est puis encore une fois, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Vous pouvez vous obstiner tant que vous voudrez, mais OK, peut-être pas exactement ma TRD, mais quelque chose qui ressemble en principe. Parce que l'économie canadienne n'a pas doublé, mais l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique a plus que doublé. Fait qu'on est à veille d'avoir un effondrement des finances publiques. On va devoir couper dans les finances publiques parce que le même principe s'applique en individu. Si l'intérêt d'un individu s'augmente, ça devient plus que double, mettons de 156 à 333 en 3 ans seulement. C'est la période de temps, là. Combien de salaires qui ont doublé? L'augmentation des salaires, là, ça a été 4,4% entre 2020 et 2025 en 5 ans, entre le février 2020 et cette année 2020. Fait qu'en 5 ans, 4,4%. Fait que c'est pas le double, ça. Fait que c'est pour ça que c'est juste le principe financier, là. L'individu va devoir couper, puis dans le public, on va devoir couper. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? Les prisons, la GRC, les services de sécurité, les services publics de santé publique, ceux qui ramassent les poubelles, le compostage. Vous réalisez qu'on est en veille d'avoir, juste avoir ces chiffres-là, mathématiques, le principe, on est en veille d'avoir une catastrophe financière. C'est juste par principe. Moi-même, je suis en difficulté financière, j'ai une dette de 10 000 $. Mon intérêt que je paye, c'est 10,44. Puis sur la dette, après qu'on va faire l'implémentation de la théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui inclut la théorie de l'intégration monétaire, on va mettre un plateau d'intérêt de 10%. Il ne pourra plus avoir de plus que 10% après ça. Fait que ça va être 10 au moins, 9, 8, 7, 7,18, 4,10, 3,33, 1,56, 6,9,3, en bas de 10. Par principe, on ne pourra plus avoir d'intérêt de plus que 10% après qu'on va faire l'implémentation de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, on ne pourra plus avoir d'intérêt de 20%, 22%, 22,44, 25,45 et plus que 18, plus que 22, plus que 25. Ça va être 10% maximum. Par principe, là. C'est juste le principe. C'est juste le principe, parce que c'est un principe financier qui est constant. C'est ça qu'il faut comprendre. Et on ne peut pas s'en sortir de ça. L'économie canadienne va prendre des... Là, avec les tarifs, on dépend à 80% et plus, là, soyons réalistes. Notre intérêt principal en géopolitique et vice-versa, c'est d'avoir les meilleures relations avec les États-Unis. Avec la TRD, on va faire la composer... On va faire l'implémentation de matière de la refusion de la dette, puis on va faire la création de 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé, l'armée du dragon, soit le collectif, les légions de l'Amérique du Nord pour la sécurité, pour la service, pour la défense, les légions pour le collectif, les légions du collectif, les légions pour la sécurité, le service pour la défense, les légions pour la sécurité, pour le service, pour la défense, les légions seulement pour la SSD, sécurité, service et défense, pour la sécurité, puis service, puis défense, seulement pour la SSD, sécurité, service et défense, seulement pour la SSD, sécurité, service et défense, les légions pour la SSD, sécurité, service et défense. SSD, par principe, le principe de l'armée du dragon, ça fonctionnera de côte à côte, océan à océan de côte à côte, pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour le SSD, sécurité, service, défense, seulement, et intégré avec toutes les institutions de sécurité qui existent, puis par la mobilisation d'un pourcentage, parallèlement avec l'armée de la déesse qui danse, soit la Ligue de danse de l'Amérique du Nord, pour bien sûr la Ligue de danse, pour faire de la danse pour le plaisir de la vue, pour l'éducation, pour la plantation des nouveaux arbres, le nettoyage de l'environnement. Fait que ça va avoir le royaume, c'est ça, fait partie de mon rêve qui est fondamentalement un appel de pour le partenariat public-privé à travers le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Et le roi est absent. Le roi est absent, le roi est absent. Le roi est absent. Le roi il est absent. C'est le temps pour la République. Ben, quand j'ai entendu Mark Carney, rien contre Carney, mais il a prêté allégeance et serment au roi Charles et ses descendants, ses héritiers. Il faut qu'on arrête ça dans les 2025, 21e siècle. Ça aurait dû être fini en 1980, ça. Prêter serment et allégeance au roi Charles, là. Au roi Charles, le roi Charles, là. Il a prêté serment et allégeance au roi Charles et ses héritiers, ses descendants. Vous imaginez-vous, ben c'est fini ça, il faut arrêter ça. C'est le temps pour la République, c'est le temps pour le collectif. On va faire un grand recensement Canada et États-Unis, un passeport commun, et ces 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, on bâtir les 44 tunnels. Les 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire. Là. Possible qu'il y ait une guerre thermonucléaire. On va devoir bâtir ces tunnels avec la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, théorie à refusion de la dette. On va pouvoir bâtir ces tunnels. On va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure. On va pouvoir financer les gens à l'entraînement physique. On va pouvoir, bien sûr, construire les 44 tunnels, financer les gens au tourisme, bâtir plus de centrales Hydro-Québec. On va faire bien du bien. Beaucoup de bien avec cet argent-là. Puis faire l'environnement, la création des institutions de partenariat public-privé. C'est le temps pour la TRD. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution qu'on est rendu en 2025. Ce mois d'avril, le 8, on est le 9, là déjà, on est le 9. Mercredi. Ben c'est ça. Si t'avais d'être une urgence, un effondrement, là, c'est juste ça qui, par principe, tu sais. Par principe, tu sais, c'est un principe qui s'applique. C'est juste le principe qui s'applique dedans. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il y a la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Théorie de la refusion de la dette. Et donc, on va devoir faire cette théorie, cette implémentation qu'on va devoir faire. Et donc, par principe, c'est ça qu'on va faire. On fera cette théorie de la refusion de la dette. La TRD. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. Tu sais, c'est des choses que je dois faire moi-même, tu sais. Théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est des choses, bien sûr, que moi-même, il faut que je fasse. Il faut qu'on fasse. C'est urgent. C'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement dès demain. Là. Dès aujourd'hui, peut-être ça a commencé pendant que j'étais en marche en méditation. Moi, ça fait 3 heures et plus. Là. Je suis à la marche. Hier, j'en ai fait plus que 5 heures. Lundi, j'ai pas fait, j'étais malade. J'étais en récupération, j'étais en méditation. Je fais de la géopolitique quotidienne. Je suis un analyste théoricien géopolitique indépendant. C'est des choses moi-même que il faut que je fasse dans cette domaine où que je suis rendu, puis c'est des choses qu'il faut que je le fasse moi-même, tu sais. Pour l'implémentation de la TRD, c'est urgent, ça après, c'est un paradoxe, ça sort de... J'étais maudit par l'Asperger, j'ai souffert beaucoup, perdu de l'emploi, là, ma compréhension, mais les amis perdus et tout, mais ben des choses qu'il faut que je fasse maintenant, c'est la solution. Et qu'il faut faire l'implémentation, on n'a pas le choix. TRD, rock and roll bilingual. Let's go on the toes, you know we go. On the love and on the go. We're gonna swing it up and down. Knocking at the door, that's the rock and roll, you know we flavor. To love up in the savers. I don't need no saber, but a skyscraper. To get it for the love, to get it for the doves. The sun shines to make. That's what's written every day. I know we gotta say, gotta rock and roll, you know, okay. And you know, I got a red for the flavor. That's what I said. No me but love, harmony to see. To get it for the love, I just gotta need some colors that you see. Bring it on the harmony, on the kiss and dope, you know. So the kiss and up to dough. For the love and dope snow, gotta give it for the blows, for the wind and blows and hugs, kisses and you know, gotta give it for the love, gotta give it for the snow and the birds and the snow melting on the road, gotta sing up in the swinger, gotta list up in the flings, so you know they got the birds up in the kiss up in the chirper, and you know we gotta love it for the Belle Province, you know we gotta see it to believe it. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We gotta get it for the loving. Gotta get it for the snow. Gotta get it for the blows. For the fingers and the do's. Don't waste no cake up and you. Don't waste no cake up and you. Ne faites pas de gaspillage. Des cerveaux et du fromage. Gaspillez pas le vin. Et que ça danse en bouteille. Gotta give it for you know. Gotta give it for the snow. And the lake up in the bakes. Gotta kiss up in the lake. Gotta see up in the breakers. And the butchers and the truckers and the nurses and the doctors. And the firefighters gotta see. So you see up in the bees. So you see up in the leaves. Leaves and trees, you know we see. Leaves and trees, you know we be. For the snow up in the leaves, for the leaves up in the trees, for a seas, overseas, that's no, gotta kiss and disease, gotta heal as the heel, gotta heal, that's a squeal on the harmony, you know the wheels, that's the trill, know the sea up in the bee, know the sea up in the leaves, know the sea up in the trees, gotta get it for the rose, gotta get it for the crows, swing those ships, gotta see, oh yeah, look at the beautiful blues, you know that I love you, beautiful blues, you know that I love you, beautiful blues, you know that I love you, got a cheese. Got the farmers and the butchers and the truckers and the nurses and the firefighters, doctors. For the squeeze up in the roller, for the squeeze up in the roller. Roll it. French cuisine, la belle province. Et le français béquin ça danse, et le français béquin ça fromage. Pour que ça soit, ya. Et les Québécois et les Québécoises, encore la poudre du fromage. Que ça soit bien, regarde. 2-3 pas de la guitare. Mais ça fasse bien, regarde. Que ça fasse bien, regarde. Que ça fasse tous ensemble. Pour ça danse, mais ça fume. Tante, arrête la cigarette, bouge tes fesses. De la belle province. Pas besoin de l'eau bénite. Juste une bière à la place. Juste une bière à la place. Juste une bière, ça dégage. Juste une bière, ça fumasse. Juste une bière, ça regarde. Juste une bière, ça regarde. Ça regarde, ça retarde, ça retarde. Mais ça revient après un couple de minutes. Ça avance, le soleil, on est en avril. Les mains dans les oreilles québécoises dans le soleil. Dans le soleil, les cendres, dans le soleil, les cendres, ça la monte, ça descend. C'est plein de la gauche et de la droite, ça fasse. Les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec, bougez vos fesses. Travailleurs des pompiers boulangers. Ceux qui changent les couches dans la garderie. Travailleurs en construction, ça monte, ça grue. Attention, prudence. Attention, prudence sur les côtes. Ça bouge les coudes. Et regarde pour sa face les travailleurs qui dansent. Et ça passe bien le train. Train, ça va à l'est. L'est à l'ouest, le nord au sud. L'est à l'est, le nord au sud. Ben Constance, ben regarde. Encore ben c'est plein, ça avance. De la neige. C'est en train de fondre. That's the snow ready to melt. Still in April, that's upset. Still in April, that's a bet. I don't bet and I don't gamble. 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 Gotta give it for the fumble. Gotta give it for the rumble. So you know we ain't no trouble. Got a swing ready to hiss. Got a snake and hiss the bliss. Gotta bake those cookies, please. Gotta say those left and right. Gotta give it out of sight. Gotta give it out of light. Gotta give it for the kiss. Gotta give it for the hiss. Gotta give it for the snake, you better please. Gotta give for the left and for the right. For the left and for the sight. So you see we act alike. So you see we acting right. So you seize the please the left. So you see, is that 3Gs? 3G, 4G, 5G? Maybe so that you see. C'est-tu de la technologie? 3G, 5G, 4G, comment ça fonctionne? Je le demande, je connais juste la géopolitique. La danse, le rock'n'roll. Mais j'en connais un peu pour les ondes de la radio, ça avance, ça téléphone en mobile pour la théorie de la défense. Les travailleurs, ça plombe, les pompiers, ça boulange. Les boulangers, ça avance, boulanger, ça descend, let's go. Give me that 3G, give me that 4G. Give us that 5, maybe all of them 3G, 4G, 5G. Anybody see this? What's this? That's the third across Canada, all the 50 states. Plus the 13, how many we got? Or in Canada, United States, how many we got of those? In Canada, United States, those the cell towers. Les téléphones, les tours de téléphone, les tours de téléphone cellulaire, les tours de téléphone cellulaire. Oh, I got some whiteys flowers. Les fleurs blanches. Et ça monte et ça descend, sa prudence, sa constance, ça descend. Les plombiers, c'est l'alimentaire. L'alimente, s'alimente. Les savent danse, laisse ensemble vers le soleil, là que j'avance les pieds, puis j'ai des bottes à cap d'acier. I got those steel toe boots, I got it all ready to look. Got a me to shook. Got the birds up in the sky, so you know satellites up in the right. How many sats up in the sky? That's the Deutsche Mark. That's from Germany and USA. That's the Canada, you know we slay. C'est le Canada puis l'Allemagne, les États-Unis, les satellites. Qu'est-ce que t'as dans ce bien Japon? Let's go. So how that tank ready to work? How the rock and roll ready to say? That's when they go up in the moon. That's the live stream up in the moon. I think a live stream of the Super Bowl 1971, le Super Bowl de 1971. C'était en direct les lignes de téléphone. La science, je connais juste le rock and roll. I don't know too much the science or the rock and roll design. Gotta know in that part of life to go in the hip slides. Gotta go in that part of life, in the hip slides. In the part of life. I'm a super aspy scientist. All I do is satellites, supercomputers, ICBM rockets, microchips. Dans une vie parallèle, j'ai aussi l'Asperger's, mais là, c'est la science et les satellites, les téléphones, les ordinateurs, les micropuces et les satellites. Et tout ce qui a à faire avec la science, la technologie, puis la logique mathématique dans la vie parallèle. In that parallel life I'm in, so that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing. So it's always on the go, and it's always left, right, center, la gauche, la droite, le centre, and sun is always rising, always setting. The sun is always rising, always setting. Le soleil, il y a toujours un lever puis un coucher de soleil. C'est constamment, à chaque seconde, le soleil se couche et le soleil se lève. Every second is the sunset and the sunrise. And that's what we're gonna get doing with that. And that's what we gotta get doing, So that's what we gotta get on the love, So it's something which we gotta be on the love side of things, as we go drilling it. Sun always shines, always sets. Soleil toujours se couche, et toujours. À chaque seconde, il y a un coucher de soleil, puis à chaque seconde, il y a un coucher et un lever de soleil. Every second there's a sunrise and a sunset, So that's why we gotta go drill it on that, And so we gotta go do it for the construction workers, renovations, and all projects. Let's build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum qu'on bâtit ensemble, le Colisée du peuple impérial, and get ready for that rock and roll, and get ready for that drill up and get doing left, right, bakers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, truckers, firefighters, rock and roll. Just how I go on these steel toes, got a big backpack on the back. That's the overtime workout. Avec le sac à dos sur le dos, c'est l'entraînement physique en temps extra. Overtime, every time, Rainbow Dragon, that's truth ready to do. Left and right, we freestyle on the verse, freestyle on the verse, That's the Papa Crowley that you said, bury me in New Jersey, turn to me. Who's gonna vote? The king is absent. Pour le vote, le roi est absent. C'est quoi? La gauche et de la droite. For the left and right we see. For the left and right we be. For the left and right we gonna see. Platform that you be. Gotta cross the streets in harmony. Turn your head left or right. Tournez votre tête de la gauche à droite. Quand vous traversez la rue, soyez prudent. De la rue, bien sûr, faut traverser la rue prudemment. Prudence, and I'm gonna go check the fridge. Thank you for the donations. We'll do the donations, and I'm just gonna use this because I don't know how many people touched it, and I wish I could fill it up. I just wish I could fill it up one day. Just put and fill it up. Take what you want, leave what you don't. And merci, j'aimerais ça. Tout mettre plein de choses dedans un jour. We got another one here, and it's empty now, but. I wish I could fill it up. J'aimerais ça en mettre un jour, là. Tellement de choses je mettrais, mais... Oui, there's a kitty cat. Un chat. Gotta watch it for the kitty cat. For the cars, Gotta be careful, kitty. Although it's one way here, c'est à sens unique, là, mais quand même, ici ça glisse un peu, tu peux glisser aussi, là, parce que faut être prudent, les marches, des fois, là, c'est comme prudent, là, parce que, quand on traverse de même, là, c'est à sens unique, mais quand même, par erreur, ils peuvent, by mistake, they can come by that side, because if they don't know, So always turn your heads left to right. Double vigilant. I don't like spitting in the public, but I got it because my little thing wouldn't hold that. My little... Yeah, so... J'aime pas ça cracher dans le public de même, mais j'avais pas le choix. C'est quand même, je suis en train de guérir encore. J'étais malade pendant comme 7 jours, là, mais 3 jours intenses. I was sick for like 7 days, but this is like the 8th, but 3 days intense over the weekend. But I'm kind of healing now. Over the weekend, I was like, well, I always carry my flag. I got a tattoo of Canada. I got the maple leaf tatted up. So I joke, I say I always have my flag on the right arm. Je dis tout souvent, mais ben, tu sais, parce que j'ai la fleur d'érable, j'ai le drapeau canadien, puis avec le mot Canada, tu sais, dessus, de tatouage sur mon bras droit, fait que j'ai toujours mon drapeau, il n'y a pas de problème. J'ai toujours mon drapeau, vous pouvez rien me dire, you can't say, you can't tell me nothing. I don't remember when I got it, probably decades ago, probably like more than 20 years, peut-être plus que 20 ans, là, que je l'ai, mais ma mémoire est blackout, hein. Je m'en souviens avoir déménagé, là 11 ans, là 10 ans, mais ma mémoire comme à 11 ans, puis un blackout de mémoire après 11 ans. Like I got 11 years, and then I got like that blackout, retrograde amnesia. Sometimes memory comes back with trauma or by therapy, or just comes back like that, you know. Retrograde amnesia, l'amnésie rétrograde. So I just can't remember my life prior to moving. Like living there in a moldy place, I moved and j'habitais dans une place où il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, puis j'ai déménagé, puis c'est comme that's it, that's all. And I don't know. I got all these tats, j'ai bien des tatouages, j'ai bien des cicatrices. I've got lots of scars. I don't know if I don't do drugs and I don't do drugs, and rarely, occasionally, very rare, legal cannabis, juste occasionnellement, vraiment rare, le cannabis légal, là, mais à part ça, je fais pas de drugs, tu sais. I don't do drugs other than that, but I don't know if I did drugs when I was young, and maybe that's related to retrograde amnesia mémorilas. Peut-être j'ai fait beaucoup de drogues quand j'étais jeune, mais c'est à cause de l'autisme, à cause de ces souffrances-là, ou d'autres choses que c'est possible que c'est des fois la perte de mémoire, c'est lié à la drogue, mais ou à la blessure. Puis je m'en souviens avoir été attaqué par surprise. I remember being attacked by surprise a few years ago, so that's why I gotta go rock and roll with that, and here we are, you know, on the love side of things, and that's what we gotta get doing on the XYZ, and that's why we gotta keep drilling with that, and that's why we gotta keep on that XYZ. That's why we gotta get on the love side of things for the love, you know, and healing with love, and healing with all sorts of exercising and technologies and all the things which we have, and sexual liberation, la libération sexuelle, you know. I've been in the open for more than 7 years. Ça fait plus que 7 ans, je suis en devant. I am androgynous pansexual, puis je suis androgyne pansexuel, puis 50-50, monsieur, madame, j'ai rien à me cacher. I have nothing to I have nothing to hide, you know. Nothing to hide in that manner, you know. Nothing to see anyways, to get on the love, and just gonna move out of the side to let the child with the, I don't know if it's the parent, because I don't like to assume. Je sais pas si c'est le parent, je vais pas assumer, mais je vais me tasser du chemin là, pour laisser l'enfant, tu sais. Avoir le terrain, avoir la place. I just leave it for them, you know, because I get it on the go, and as a citizen, you know, I gotta make those concessions with that, and gotta see if they spin it with that, and gotta see what they go with that, and gotta go on the go, you know, and gotta go on the love, man. And that's how I gotta get on that bacon and side it up with that, and that's how we gotta go do it, man, you know, and that's what it is, man, and so we gotta get doing for some love, you know. Fellow citizen there, cousin or cousins, all my family here, all who come to join us here in the collective, and all who come to join us, tous ceux qui viennent nous ici dans le collectif, and are my family, Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans, even Granddaddy Trump. It's not my enemy, but we gotta make a deal. Canada, United States fuse, dancing God is Dragon Kingdom. Il faut qu'on fasse un arrangement de partenariat public privé, le royaume de la déesse du dragon qui danse. Mon rêve, c'est fondamentalement un appel ou un partenariat public privé. Puis, comme vous dites, même mon grand-père, mais c'est pas mon ennemi, tu sais. Pas mon ennemi, on doit travailler ensemble. C'est sûr qu'il a pris un petit radical dans la droite puis nationale, là, mais s'il nous a proposé, c'est pas la manière de nous proposer comme ça, mais je dois me tourner la tête un peu parce que tu sais jamais, des fois ils viennent vite, hein. Ils viennent vite, puis il y a de la... Tu sais, là, il n'y a pas d'arrêt ici. Il n'y a pas d'arrêt ici, il y a juste un arrêt là. There's no stop there, see? So there they can go, but now there's a stop here. So on that side they can go fast. That's why that corner I'm always prudent, I'm always wary of the situation there, you know, because gotta be on that rock and roll. Once again, let's go some more rock and roll, and I gotta drive it home because I am really getting hungry side with that, and that's what it is with that, and so it is, you know. So we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get some flowers there, and we gotta get on that love, man. Sun rises, and oh, I love flowers, yellow flowers, small flowers, white flowers. Des petites fleurs, des grosses fleurs, toutes sortes de fleurs, mais toutes sortes de fleurs qui poussent. C'est le printemps, même s'il y a la tempête de neige. It's spring, although there was a little bit of that. That looks like an acacia tree. Acacia. I love flowers, yellow especially. Hey, the crow, what you saying? Knocking at the door. On the sun, the pyramids gotta shine. Montreal, the hot island for the bakers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Gotta give it on the time. IT workers, how many computers? Gotta get those IT workers, gotta get those data centers. Gotta put some rainbow rock and roll on the YouTube as I go. I ain't got no money for the guitar. On the left, plenty of scars. Plein d'argent des cicatrices. Pas d'argent pour une guitare. Pour sa face, bien sûr, de l'aimable. Ah, c'est amable, c'est rien, mais regarde le bleu. Qui est beau le bleu que ça danse, qui est le beau bleu ça avance. Et regarde bien la face, que ça fasse comme un animal. Et regarde pour la face, pour là, rien voir, c'est clair, des voiles. You get those veils on the do, you get those veils on the you. You get those veils so you see, you get those veils so you see. On the left and right in harmony, gotta kiss it so you know. Gotta kiss it on the blow and the snow is melting on the go. Butchers and the bakers and the truckers gotta get that spring rock and roll. Is that April as you go? And we gotta need some of those summer for that collective. L'été qui s'en vient, puis regarde, on s'approche. C'est encore juste le début du printemps, mais regarde, ça pousse les fleurs. Les fleurs qui se dansent ensemble. Québécois, québécoises, des boulangers sur boulanges. Travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec, que ça danse, que ça plombe, ça vient de l'eau, que ça coule l'eau, que ça roule l'électrique, ça bouge. You gotta go ready to go. You gotta go for the warehouse workers going chop, chop, chop on the door. On the cranes ready to bake flip some burgers on the same flipping burgers, gotta scream rock and roll for the flipping burgers in the fast food. Flipping burgers in the fast food. Gotta roll and join the sea, gotta roll and enjoy you see. For enjoy to meet you baker, for enjoy to meet you caker. For you know I got a lanes I'm freaking gotta get that rainbow for the fellows who are on the plus side on a little bit of that LGBTQ loving. Rainbow dragon black and white it, men and women, and you gotta get carded 18 for this loving. What a rainbow dragon gotta be. Ain't no dude but ain't no dude or drugs. But I gotta sing it for the farmers. You get that smoking legal cannabis if you wanna. I love the smell ready to smell. I love the smell ready to hell. I love the smell ready to bell. Ready to bells on the bells. And you know we got hell and loving, hell and bacon, hell and butchers and bakers. You know I gotta be some sesame that you know up in the streets you see. I don't like no violence. I just gotta love it, rock and roll. That intense up in the snow. Je n'aime pas la violence. J'aime le rock and roll puis des bisous puis des chatouilles. Que ça fonce avec la marmelade. Puis ça danse, puis ça danse. Et je pense que c'est une plaque de l'Allemagne. Le D pour Deutschland. Gotta give it for the D, for the Deutschland on the C. Gotta give it for the D, for the Deutschland on the B. Gotta give it for the D, for the Deutschland, don't you see? I ain't singing for the bricks, I ain't speaking German yet. Just a little bit of syllable for you know up in the go. Eins, zwei, trying up in the goal. Let's go. Das ist das so, Sonne, Sonne, Sonne. That's the sun ready to scream. For the rock and roll, ready to dream. For the rock and roll arrive. Zaprasha. Let's go. I don't need no fame, just the loving. J'ai pas besoin de juste de l'amour. Pas besoin d'être fameux, juste de l'amour. Pas besoin d'être fameux, juste de l'amour. Et regarde avec son tour, ben, tape des tambours. Le tambour, j'en ai pas, regarde, c'est sourd. Sourd, je deviens, si vous ne me parlez pas d'amour, des syllabes ben conjugues de la belle province. C'est ça que je fais, je suis bon dans le rock and roll, that's what I'm good at that rock and roll. Yeah. We gotta be ready to see. We gotta be ready to be like the bees on the trees. Gotta bite it on your please. Gotta left and right it as you see. Gotta left and right it that you be. Gotta left and right it as you see. Ready to rock and roll. On the sun up in the door. Gotta give it left and right. So you know we out of sight. Gotta give it for the love. Gotta give it for the screams. In the harmony, you know we dream. Dream, dream, dream. What I made up in the cream. On the machine. Freestyle Rainbow, rock and roll 24/7. Geopolitics, sports, fitness, marching, dancing is my favorite sport. Civilisation. It really is 24/7. Sports, fitness, dancing is my favorite sport. And rock and roll, geopolitics, sports, fitness, dancing. That really is what I do, and that's on the daily basis, 24/7, and that's what I do with it. So that's also something which I gotta be doing with that, and that's also something which I gotta be loving. Lovers, lovers, lovers. Let me see you hear that. Let me see you hear some loving. Let me hear some loving, be. Let me hear some loving, see. Loving me and loving you and loving see and loving do. For the scream and for the do. For the scream and for the you. For the screams. For the do's. For the screams and for the blues, for the left and for the right and for the circle, that's sight. For the left and right, gotta give a sight, gotta give a sight. Ain't nobody suicide, ain't nobody soon slider, ain't nobody super slider, ain't nobody slip and slider. I just rock and roll up in the lanes, switching on the frame, switching on the pain. Pain, 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 and no gain, 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 they say. I got a syllable ready to say. I got another loving. I got another hugging. Hugging on left, hugging on right. You gotta see to believe it. Got it ready. For the plains, in the streets, children playing. Playground, North American dancing, God is Dragon Kingdom, the children dance in the street. Safely, no violence. Turn our streets into playgrounds. It's time to turn our streets. Canada, United States joined in the playgrounds. It's time to turn our streets into playgrounds. C'est le temps qu'on tourne nos rues et ruelles. Et nos rues dans des terrains de jeu, dans des terrains de jeu, dans des terrains de jeu. It's time to turn our streets into playgrounds. That's what we gotta be doing. We gotta be doing on the love, and so we gotta be doing, you know. Merci, thank you. Gotta get it. The this is what I wanted to see here. That's where we gotta go, you know. There's the moon getting full. There's the moon. You know, we gotta get it on the soon. We gotta get it on the do. We gotta get it on the you. We gotta get it for the blues. We gotta get it for the Susan. Susan and Adrian, and that's the moon or the goddess, that's the sooner. So you know we gotta sing it, let me see. See the moon is visible in the sky, turn your heads left and right up in the sea. Left and right up in the B, left and right up in the sea. For you know we love it on the do, love it on the you. Love it on the blue, love it on the do. Gotta get it for the moon, so you know we'd heaven sooner. Gotta give it for the do, so that you know that I see you. Il faut que regarde, c'est la lune. What you see is what you see. Up in the birds, the harmony. On the streets ready to go. On the flavor that's amour. And another score, even the gore, even galore. For the left and right, that's the moon up in the sight. Moon's getting full. La lune devient plus pleine, c'est la fin de semaine. On est mercredi aujourd'hui, fait que dans 5 jours, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dans 3 jours et demi. Je pense que c'est dimanche matin. Je pense que c'est dimanche matin, en effet. On est mercredi. J'ai confié un peu que c'était jeudi, mais on est mercredi. I got a little bit confused that it's Thursday, but it's actually not Thursday. It is actually not Thursday. It is actually Wednesday. That's what it is with that. So that's what we gotta get doing, you know. Anyways, gotta see it for the you and gotta see it for the blues, man. Gotta sing it, you know. Let's get ready for the rainbow, rock and roll on the road. Gotta swing those hips. In harmony, you know we bliss. In harmony, you know we kiss. For the rainbow, that's a bliss. Gotta get out of the way for the children. Gotta get it, man. Gotta go ready to snow. Gotta go ready to blow. Gotta go ready, the king is absent. That's the go, that's the show. That's the left and right we go. That's some more and left and right. That's some more and out of sight. That's a rainbow cooking, there you go. For the crow in the snow, we gotta play, we got some more. Moon is full and coming due. Moon is full and coming you. Moon is coming full and I see you. And the brother and the sisters and the cousins and the mothers, getting all the family of the Canada to know strong and free. Oh, le livre, le Québécois, de la danse de la belle province, ça danse les tape des mains. Ça danse, ça recule, ça tape des mains, la belle province, Québécois et Québécoise, pour que ça fasse de l'histoire de la belle province, pour que ça fasse bien, regarde, encore. Encore, regarde, et regarde bien méchant, des pétards, ben ça pète ben demain, ben ça pète policière, j'ai fait, amour d'argent criminel, maintenant je danse, je fais l'amour avec un policière, j'ai fait de mort de danse criminelle, ménage fait là, rétention criminelle là. Play in the streets, gotta watch the cars, play safely, watch the cars, watch the window. Best if you go in the park, but if it's mellow, I guess you gotta watch the cars, you know, because play some football sports is good, important. Le sport est important. Faites-le avec prudence and caution and think about the other citizens. And it's important to get physical activity and the individual and the community. L'individu et la communauté, c'est toujours un 50-50, un partenariat public-privé, you know. It's always the individual and the community. It's always a 50-50, you know. That's what we gotta go doing with that. It's always 50-50, man. It's always 50-50, you know. C'est toujours 50-50, you know. So, pledge your allegiance. Dans la famille. Prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. Prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. Pledge your allegiance. Thou art family. Pledge your allegiance. Thou art family. Pledge your allegiance. Thou art family. Prêtez allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille. How about 463? 13 plus 50. 13 plus 50. Dancing Goddess Dragon Kingdom, pledge your allegiance, our family. On the steps, left and right, on the march, ready to sight. Where's the moon is coming full, beautiful blue sky. Quel beau bleu ciel quand même, belle journée un peu. Faisait frais ce matin, quand même, -8, -9, mais hey la lune, there it is. It's getting full. Elle devient pleine. Sing it for the moon. Babalam. Babalam, kisses of the goddess. Build the forgotten goddess temple. Qu'on construit le temple de la déesse oubliée. Qu'on construit le temple de la déesse oubliée. Qu'on construit le temple de la déesse oubliée. Time to build the forgotten goddess temple, and that's the moon and the sun. Right to the right arm, left arm. That's holding the phone, smartphone, my left, so it could be on my left side, and on my right, sunset coming. Le coucher du soleil à ma droite, c'est le soleil, à ma gauche, c'est la lune. So on the left or right. But if I turn and go north a few steps, it's the opposite. It's the left hand where the sun is, and the right where the moon. So left, right. On each side, the moon and the sun conjoined. So, si je me tourne, c'est l'autre bord, là. C'est ça le mystère, parce que si je me tourne, c'est l'autre main, le soleil, ça devient la main gauche, puis la lune, ça devient la main droite. Mais quand je me tourne vers le sud, parce que moi je marche vers le sud, maintenant je marche vers le sud, c'est le vice-versa. Now I'm going south. But if I start marching north, it's no longer to my left, the moon, and the right to the sun to my right when I go north, because now I'm heading south. If I turn and go north, the sun is to my left, and the moon is to my right. So either way, the moon is on either side, but if I start going north, it's on the opposite hand, the left and the right. If I go south, it turns on the opposite, right? If I go on the other side, it's on the other side. That's what it is with that. So there's the moon, and there's the sun. C'est comme... Your curses bounce off me like dust, wind off the pyramid. Vos malédictions se rebondissent à moi comme la poussière sur les pyramides. All the curses bounce off me, become stronger, like dust off the pyramid, comme 11-fold back. Ça tourne 11 fois. 11 fois contre vous. Les malédictions, si vous envoyez. Alerte, attention. Curses bounce back 11-fold, you know. Like, off the pyramid. Off the pyramids, like dust off the pyramids. The curses bounce off of me. like dust off the pyramids, you know. Les malédictions, mais ça se lit, c'est comme le vent et la poussière sur les pyramides. Curses against me like dust off the pyramids. Les malédictions, c'est un qu'on vous élève une fold 11 fois. C'est comme la poussière puis le vent sur les grandes pyramides à Caire en Égypte. It's 4,500 years ago, 4,500 years, majestic, eh? For thousands of years, they were the biggest, most heavy and tall buildings, eh? Until the 1800s, pendant plus que 44 000 ans, ben, comme plus que quasiment 40 000 ans, les pyramides, c'était les plus hauts, les plus élevés, les plus fortes, les pyramides. Okay? So it's like... That's what it is with that, and that's what we're gonna go do with that, you know. So we're gonna get doing on the go, man. Turn head on the left and right. Let's see how much you got. The gas. Oh, it went down a bit. It was 166. C'était 1,66, ça a descendu un peu. 166, you know. That's what it is with that. And here I gotta be prudent. Faut que je sois vigilant, prudent. Toi aussi, mon cher citoyen. Soyez prudent ici. Vous tournez votre tête de la gauche à la droite. You turn your heads left and right. Vous tournez la tête de la gauche à droite. And we gotta go on the go, you know. So something which we gotta be doing, you know. I just gotta be prudent. Take a step back and prudence, body safe, you know. Le corps sain et sauf. And gonna wait again. Gotta be patient, you know. Swing those hips left and right, twist a bit. I'm going to get that S and S and S and curses bounce off of me like dust off the pyramid. Did the curses bounce off of me like the dust off the pyramid underneath my feet? Dust underneath my feet like the top of the pyramid. Quelle malédiction soit sur mes pieds comme la poussière puis le vent qui frappe les pyramides. La poussière puis le vent qui frappe les pyramides. Dust in the pyramids, you know. There's the yellow, first yellow. Les jaunes. There they are. Pyramids. First yellows. Happy I seen the yellows, man. That's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get going, you know. And here I gotta be on that prudent side because it slides. Slips and slides. Ça glisse. Beginning with a smile. Ending with a smile. Joyous. Been through hell and back still. And I'll faire Peter retour and watch it here because it's got a slide, and grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, and got food and coffee, and encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. J'encourage tout le monde à faire l'entraînement physique. L'entraînement physique a été vraiment médecine et thérapie de choix. And I just want to go to check a little bit of that here, a little bit of the graffiti, because usually I don't check it out, but now I kind of feel like checking it out a bit. So I don't know, I just feel like checking it out a bit of the... I never checked it out before here, but sometimes there's people with talent, but you gotta get the spots, you know? We gotta kind of like consecrate the right spots for it. So that's just what we gotta do with that. But if we're gonna get it, so hungry, gonna get that hydration and gonna get it on the love birds, and here we got it on the love, so it's something which we gotta be doing on now, and which we gotta be doing on the love side of things, and that's what we gotta get doing on the love, so something which we gotta do, and that's what we gotta get doing on the love birds things, and so we gotta get on the transmission side, and something which we gotta be on the love side of things, and encouraging all the workout, try and exercise, and that's all we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get doing on the love. Oh yeah, that's something which we gotta be on the prudent side of things, and something which we gotta get on the love, so it's something which we gotta be on the love side, and that's all we gotta get doing on the do. And lovers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and grocery store clerks, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, gotta send some LOV on the way so that you see, on the way so that you be, on the way so that you see, on the way so that you love it, on the way so butchers baking and the cooks, and they ready, look, yeah. Firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, truckers, grocery store clerks, grateful, thankful, rent paid, electrician, bills paid, la gratitude, paymo loyer, paymo and gotta get it for the lion, see the lion, Voyez le lion, so, yeah, gotta go eat, aller manger, and pledge your allegiance to our family, dancing God is drawing kingdom, made you and honor, drawing, keep my name out of your mouth, it's not for a blessing, otherwise let it be pestilence, 93.